Alright, that's on. All good. Alright,
Sometimes Ordis likes to assume he knows
I'll
nothing.
wait a few minutes and then we'll
Nobody
get
can
started
know
on
what
this.
they think they already know.
Hopefully it goes well. I got some opinions today. Let's just wait for people to get in. I gotta share the stream. Alright, that should be good. Yo, Gear, how's it going, dude? Just gonna wait about 5 or so minutes and then we'll get started on doing this. Because I'm bored as hell and I figure why not let my opinions be shown on what I think of people's favorite frames. Doing great. That's good to hear, Gear. Good to hear. And I think after we rank them, we'll go do some gameplay for a little bit. Because it won't be too long, because here's the thing, I don't own every frame, so whatever frames I don't own, slash haven't touched, I won't be ranking. I was decorating my dojo and just invited someone to my clan. Nice! Hopefully you can make your clan look good, man, because I'll tell you, I've got a clan of my own, and I've barely touched it since I built it. Wait a few more minutes, and then we'll get started. I'm decorating my dojo a lot, and I've gotten a few compliments about it. I'd say I'm pretty good at decorating it. If you want to see a dojo anytime, message me on Discord. Yeah, Gira, at some point I will, just not right now. I visited a few dojos in the last couple days, so I'm kind of like dojoed out lately. Wait a few more minutes, and then we'll get started. Because, oh my lord, I got some opinions. Some of which might make some frenemies. Probably be a little bit of shit posting in this and all that jazz. Actually, what's being sold on the market right now? Valkyrie Prime chassis. Do I have that? No. It has a lot of people already. It's alright, you don't have to visit it now, but when you want to see, message me on Discord. Alright, thank you, Gear. Yeah, alright. We'll get started in about, say about 2 minutes or so would probably be good. Let me actually see, do I have any of my stuff done? Nah, I still gotta collect those damn hounds, though. As a fellow Florida man from Clearwater Clan, and aspiring Limbo main, I humbly request your updated main Limbo build. So I have actually two of them for this. My first one
Excellent armaments.
is literally a base range
Please
build.
return covered in blood.
And then my second one, which is on the second Limbo, right here. Oh, and this is also the channel fashion, is the Limbusi setup. Requires a lot, but you don't need too much to make it good. Just a lot of materials. I also decided to go for a little bit of a Dune fashion, because I saw Dune Part 2 twice now, actually, because I saw it again yesterday with my little brother, and I've just been so obsessed with it, because they made such an incredible adaptation. Okay, so wait a little bit longer, and then we'll get started. Don't spoil Sheesh. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, Pugs. Don't worry about it. I do see a Limbusi in the wild. God damn it. Yeah. Yeah, I won't spoil anything, Pugs. Don't worry about it. It's very good, though. Like, as a fan of the book, they did an incredible job with Part 2. Cannot wait for Denis Villeneuve, the director, to do Dune Messiah next. Hey! Hey, Aku! The IRL name revealed, I assume. Oh well. It's alright. So how's it going on your end? Because we're going to get started very soon. Somebody in my clan donated 75% of the resources needed for the Arcwing launcher segment research. I donated the rest. The research should be done in 5 hours. Nice! Yeah, getting that stuff is a pain. Like, I've barely leveled up the bio lab in my dojo. Yeah, it's fine. It's like 8:30 p.m. right now. I'm making dinner. Yeah, it's about to be 7:30 for me. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, I think we'll get started very soon. So we're gonna switch to this setup. So a couple of rules for this ranking. For one, I don't own every frame, so we're only gonna be ranking the ones that I do own, or ones I did previously own that I've played a lot. So, for example, Grendel is one that I used to play a lot before I subsumed him. I just haven't bothered to get his prime. And Kalervo is the same thing. I played him a lot, subsumed him, haven't gotten another one. Pigments in the clan is done. Only thing missing is the nuke of pigments. Waiting for Barrow to bring beacons and waiting for Dante. Lol. I feel it. Yeah. Feeling, man. Bias Prime on stream right now. I can't, Pugs. I don't have enough money to buy the Prime when it comes to plot, I don't think. And besides, I want to save this plot. Okay, so first one, we just take away a bunch of the weapons for now, though, when I do this. So we just have the one. It's more than enough. Buy an Excalibur Prime. I wish. Okay, so yeah, this is actually, oh wow, haven't put that in. Yeah, it's not the best build. I've only played Banshee like a tiny bit, but let's see, what other skins do I have for her actually? I don't have one. Okay, I'll fashion her a little bit first. I do have some of her cosmetics, not all of them. Oh yeah, I also got Valkyr Prime too. Yeah, I've gotten Valkyr Prime, I just haven't bothered to level her yet. So she's just sitting in there at the moment. I'm just gonna fashion her up a tiny bit and then we'll get started. So what is happening right now? I'm gonna try some Warframes. So I'm doing a Warframe ranking video, and I think I explained the rules. I'm only gonna be ranking the frames I own / have played enough of. And I will be talking about at least 2 frames I did own but subsumed. So whichever ones I have not played enough, even if I have them in the subsume system, I won't be talking about because I don't want to be a prick of what you play most. Kind of, yeah. Like, it's a tier list video, but I'm going to be ignoring frames I haven't played enough of, so I won't be ranking them because I don't want to be pulling information out of my ass when it comes to this ranking. Fashion my Valkyrie like my cat Milo that passed on as a tribute. Aw, that's beautiful. Oh wait, let's do random colors. Ooh, I actually like that look. There we go. Copy that a little bit. Actually, I might do random colors for this. There we go. That looks interesting. And then side down now. And then maybe do this one. Okay. Oh, don't judge me, pugs. So anyway, first frame that we have here is Banshee. And so here's the thing. I have played Banshee quite a bit before. Like, I haven't played her a lot recently, but I do remember playing her before. I personally think she is, contrary to what a lot of big creators say, a very good frame. She has pretty good CC with her 4, even if it's not the best. Her 3 is in particular is amazing CC. Her 1 is pretty good. The augment makes it even better. Savage Silence augment as well is pretty good. Her 2 is like one of the best damage buffers in the game. Like, hands down, one of the best. And she's a really good weapons platform. My only gripe with her is that I think her survivability, at least before Abyss of the Goth, was pretty shit. And, oh, and here's the other thing about the rules. I don't count helmet when talking about frames. Helmets should not be counted, in my opinion. So by herself, without helmet abilities, I thought she wasn't particularly great because her survivability was shit. But, because of the shield changes that she got, I actually need to improve her real quick. 1 second. I love Valkyrie Prime so far. Nice. But Pugs, the reason why I don't count helmets is specifically because you're taking ability that wasn't meant to go on the frame and putting it on the frame. That is why I do not count it. Helmets should only be used as a means of mixing and matching powers for fun purposes. It shouldn't be used as a band-aid. End of story. But I do think that before the shield changes, she wasn't particularly great, unless you were using a subzoom, which I said I hate and don't think it should count. But after the shield changes, I must say, I think she has gone up a lot. She's now able to tank pretty decently, especially... Do you not use helmet though? No, Pugs, I do use helmet powers. I'm just saying that helmet powers shouldn't be counted on whether or not a frame is good or not. Like, I'm not saying I don't use helmets, I do. I actively do use helmets. I just don't use it as band-aids. Like, end of story, helmets shouldn't be an excuse for a poorly designed frame. And I think, as a whole, she is a solid B+ now, if we're going by letters. But you still get 3 whole abilities that give the frame its identity. But Pugs, that's exactly the point. You're taking a ability off and putting on an ability that was not meant to be there. That's why I don't count it. Yeah, Banshee, solid B+. She is very underrated. Still has a couple of survivability problems, but she's much better than she was before. Her 4 is good as a CC, but isn't great as a damage ability, which kind of sucks. Helmet is more in build diversity than a band-aid. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Aku. Her 4 needs to be removed the second you build her, though. Which it shouldn't be, lol. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, the helmet shouldn't be used as a band-aid for frames. It should only be used for build diversity. That's why I don't count it here. I'm talking about the frames strictly with their powers intact. As it should be. And I think as a whole, she is a solid B+. Does have survivability problems a little bit, even with the shield changes, but we have ways of working around that now. She's got armor strip with her 1. 2, excellent damage buffer. Her 3 is like an anti-exibus / ability tool. Her 4 just needs a lot of work. If she got that, she would be really good. Right, next. Baruch, the Monk Man. Man, I haven't used him in a while either. But I did use him a lot when his Prime came out. Like, I got his Prime pretty much immediately when he came out. And he is easily S tier. By far and away S tier. His 1, even though I haven't subsumed here, his 1 is still pretty good. I think the augment that's coming out has got me excited to try him again, because it's pretty good at dodging attacks, as well as decreasing his restraint meter for his Serene Storm ability. The augment for Serene Storm, Reactive Storm is amazing. Automatically succeed at your next hack. So Pugs, the reason why I had this is I used to use Baruch on Archon hunts, so that's why I had this, so I could instantly hack the terminals. Like, this is an Archon hunt build. I'll say I know Baruch is good and all, but for some reason he bores me. Oh yeah, that is a big problem, Aku. I do think personally that Baruch is kind of boring, but I cannot deny that he's good. His 2 LOL is also an excellent CC tool. I don't have the helmet yet, but I really want it, so I can try it with some other frames. World's first human to ever put that ability on. Pugs, come on. It's so good for Archon hunts. Like, genuinely, it's very good. Like, this is the Archon hunt build that I used to run. Because, like, the thing is, his 1 is really good if you're in a squad to decrease the meter, but if you're by yourself, you're better off subsuming it. But that doesn't, like I said, helmets don't count. Like, as an ability by itself, it's still very good. First ever. I use Loki for Spy and Limbo for Rescue with on both. Yeah, you see what I mean, Aku. Like, it's a pretty good ability for those kinds of modes. His 3 Desolate Hands gives damage reduction and disarms enemies, which is really, really nice. And it can also be given to allies too, which is also really good. And his 4. Like, come on. Serene Storm is such a good ability. Like, it is such a strong ability. It's like easily the best exalted melee by far, or at least one of them. And the way his kit functions, like how his first 3 powers are used so you can get down to using his 4th, is such a well designed kit. Like Baruch easily is an S tier frame, like by and far. Anyone who says they're not is coping. And although I will admit, I do think he is boring. Like, not to say he's bad, but personally I do think he's a bit boring, but I cannot deny he is excellent. Like, one of the best, easily. Oh wait, not that button, fuck. I didn't plan this. Honestly, so much stuff is in Baruch's Exalted, it feels like they see Valk's and Excal's weapon and they enhance it on new frames. Yeah, that's the thing. I do feel like he's just taken that concept and made it better, you know? But regardless of that, he is still so good. Even though I do find him boring to play, he is still very good. Now, Chroma. So the thing with Chroma is, as you can see, I haven't leveled him up that much, and that's because I haven't really touched him a whole lot. And I did try him out, and I wasn't having fun with him. But personally, I don't think I can really rank him here, at least right now, because I just haven't played enough of him. And I do know that Elemental Ward, when I tried it on other frames, was pretty cool. And Vex Armor was... yeah, definitely new Chroma player colors. Yeah, that exactly. Like, the thing is, I just haven't touched him a whole lot, so because of this reason, I'm gonna leave him unranked. But if you do want to know more about Chroma, Nova Umbral, he fucking loves Chroma. So if you want to know more about Chroma, talk to him, but I'm not going to rank him here, so we're going to move on, because I just haven't played enough of him to really know how he works very well. Citrine, the Jamusi. I think Citrine... Oh, I need to put some stuff back on her F. I forgot to put some things on, so we'll do this, some adaptation. God, Chroma, I did have seen him back in the days, but shit, he feels like a relic that needs up. Yeah, that's exactly the other problem too, Anku. Like, one thing that I think people can agree, even when I played him a little bit, was that he needs an update. Like, definitely. Hopefully that new augment ends up being good for him. But, Citrine. I think Citrine is very, very good, but I don't think she's an S. Like, I think she's like a A minus. Jimusi is strong and is going to be even stronger with the new augment. Jimusi stronger over Wisp. Oh no, I agree with you. I actually think personally that Wisp is one of the most overrated support frames. Like, not bad, but she easily takes over Wisp in terms of support. Like, her 1 gives health and energy orbs when killing enemies. Her 2 is damage reduction, and no, it doesn't give health over time, does it? No, it doesn't. Okay. Her 3 is a condition overload monstrosity that, when given Archon continuity, allows it to armor strip if you use green shards, which I have yet to do on her, but I know is a thing. And her 4 gives guaranteed red crits. Like, as a support frame, as a weapon buffer frame for a squad, Citrine easily takes a cake. And yes, you know, I'm gonna call you Mariko. Sorry. Yes, Mariko. Like, her passive is like, yeah, it's like health overtime, right? Where is it on her? Yeah, it's in here, right? Yeah. Yeah, it gives the health regeneration, and picking up health orbs increases it, and she is just so strong. Like, she's very strong, don't get me wrong, and I think she's an excellent support, but I don't think she is an S, simply because she does a lot of stuff really well, but she only is very good at everything that she does. Like, she's not amazing at everything she does. Like, she does each of her support elements very well, but she's not the best at it. Morrow? Okay, I'll call you Morrow. That's better. So, Morrow. Mesa does it. So, Pugs, here's the thing. I don't have Mesa, actually, but I do have Neza. Like, Neza Prime. I just never bothered to get Mesa. Like, I do think she looks cool, but she never interested me. But yeah, like, health and energy orbs, damage reduction, weapon buffing, instant red crits. Like, she is so good at everything, but she's not the best at it. And I do think that new augment is going to be very interesting for Crystallize when it comes out. So I think she's a solid A. Like, she's not amazing, and she's nowhere near terrible, but she's not the best of the best. Like, she is very good, but she's really good at what she does, but she's not the best of the best at it. Have you played Lavos, though? New augment sounds... Oh, yes, Morrow. I have played Lavos. I actually used to play Lavos a lot, actually. Okay. Equinox. So, interesting thing. I used to consider myself many, many months back as an Equinox fan. Like, I fucking love, and I still love Equinox. Like, oh, I want to see what you rate Equinox easy. Oh yeah, Pugs. To me, Equinox, especially after the shield changes, she is easily an S plus for me. Like, personally, she's an S plus, but I do think objectively she's probably an A plus. And let me explain why. She has 2 Warframes built into her that can be spec'd into, which is very cool. She doesn't need sub-zooms or anything to work. Especially with the changes to shields in the Abyss of the Goth, she can easily tank. Like, very easily. And because of the fact that she's such a spammy frame... Oh wait, I gotta fix this real quick. I remember leveling her up a while ago, and I forgot to put the mods back on. Yeah, the fashion's not very good, at least not this one. I do have better fashions. Fashion needs a rework. Yeah, true. I don't know what I was trying with this. Like, what was I doing? Oh, now I remember. It was, it was like this. Let me fix this up real quick. And then we might actually take Equinox for a little bit after this. But it's like, the thing about Equinox is she could tank super well. She's strong. Yeah, she can go anywhere and everywhere. You can build her in any way you want. She is very flexible. She is like such an incredible nuke frame. Like she is just so incredibly strong. Because her metamorphosis, especially its augment, which I run, gives you extra damage. And it also changes like aggro and everything, so you can get a little bit of the aggression off of you. Rest and Rage is an amazing CC and damage buffing power, especially on other frames. Pacify and Provoke is amazing as well, especially with its augments, for the increased damage reduction and the slow. And stuff like that. And then Mend and Maim, like holy crap, what an incredible ability when you can master it. Like she is an easy S tier. I don't care what people say, she is easily an S. I think we'll have this fashion for her, actually, when we leave. Yeah, fashion needs a rework, yeah. Okay, so that's it for her. And her augments are amazing. So Excalibur / Excalibur Umbra. With like a little update regarding Equinox to fix some things in her, but otherwise she works well. Yeah, I mean, true, she's not perfect, but she is, like, she's so good. So the thing with Excalibur is, I haven't played much of him either. I only played him a little bit. The only things I can say I do think are really good are Exalted Blade. I actually really like Radial Howl as well. And I've barely used Javelin and Slash Dash on him. So, based on what I've played, I think he's probably a B. But objectively, I'm not going to rank him right now because I haven't played him enough. But I do know, like, again, there's other creators like Nova Umbral who have played him a lot, so he can probably give a better opinion on him. But for now, he's kind of just unranked. At least for me. So, Excalibur is B. Frost Prime. Let me actually fix this up. So I do have a sub-zoom, but this was because of the build I wanted to use. And I do know his Overguard augment is fucking amazing, so I'll keep that in mind. What was I doing with this build again? Oh yeah, I was doing a pillage build for like armor strip or something for some reason. Frost A-. Yeah, one second, I need to fix this real quick. What was I doing? I was doing something. Oh my god. I forgot that I have the shield shards on this guy. I was using the pillage for extra shields back in the day to make him work. He doesn't need it now, but just imagine that's not there. So let me switch to this config. Yeah, this one. I did have Thermal Thunder over as one because I was doing a build where what I would do is build up, like, use the Avalanche with this to build up the cold procs and shit, and then use Biting Frost to get the crit chance of crit damage. Which was really good. Like, it worked really well. But I did it mostly for fun. But, let me switch this one, yeah. So, his one is alright. It's not amazing, but it does allow you to get an instant freeze on the enemy. So you can, like, instantly get, like, Biting Frost to work on them. Ice Wave is an alright ability as well. If you armor strip first with Avalanche, it's pretty good, I would say, but without it, it's not particularly amazing. Snow Globe, a really good defense power, and it also has the health buildup. His one is Hack Attempt tier ability. Yeah, yeah, fuck, his one isn't great, but Snow Globe is very, very good. It gives him defense, and it also has the damage attenuation thing, whatever it is, where like how many shots it takes before the invulnerability expires adds into the health. Has an augment that gives finisher damage very similar to Savage Sonnets, and they stack. Yeah, I know they do gear, but like I said, I'm not including that too much, and I haven't really used that augment. Frost has some things going on, even with cold changes affecting him. He needs work though. Yeah, that's the thing, Morrow. Like, and then Avalanche. one of the best armor stripping abilities in the game, like easily. Like you don't need a whole lot of strength to full strip, and it has so much range too at base. So like a very good power. And that's the thing, is that Frost is good, but his 2 and his 3, or his 2 and 1 in particular need work. Because his 1 is, at this point right now, is just a free subsume slot, and even then, like, it's still niche. Like, it kind of is decent, but it's not amazing. Ice Wave, same thing, like, unless you have an armor strip, it's not particularly amazing either. And then he's really carried by his Snow Globe and his Avalanche, and just his augments being really fucking great. So I would say as a whole, he's a solid B plus. Like I think when you know what you're doing, he's very good from what I've played before. But I do think he still needs work. So I hope he gets not necessarily a rework, but some changes. Okay, Garuda. Oh, and by the way, this is the other Gar I got free when I watched TennoCon last year. I still haven't leveled it up. Don't sue me. Garuda. Oh, yeah, I think I got rid of some augments and was playing some stuff around, but okay. Gara is easily one of the strongest frames in the game, but she suffers from Baruch syndrome where I think she's very boring. Like her 1 is a stat stick, so it's already, I would say, pretty good for that reason, because it means that you don't have to spec too much in the mods to make it good. You just rely on the melee. And both of its modes are really strong. Like the sweep is really strong, and the punch is very strong. Hey, yay! Welcome to the stream, dude. And it's also used to synergize with her 4, the Massive Vitrify, to build up the strength of her 2. Her 2 is an excellent damage reduction power, which stacks with other things like adaptation. It is a little funky though. Like I've shown in the video about the rift before, like you have to cast it outside of the rift before banishing, otherwise if you cast it in the rift it stays, because it doesn't go through for some reason. And it's a really strong damaging ability when you build it up, and it scales indefinitely. So you can easily do things like level cap if you want to with this. Spectro Rage is a pretty good CC power personally, especially with its augment to give energy. It's very, very strong. And her 4 is also a really good defensive power that is used to build up the damage of her 2. Like, her whole kit synergizes very well. You can't really subsume anything outside of Spectro Rage, and even then I prefer not to, because I think it's a pretty good power. And she just, like, when I feel like playing her, on the right times I do, she's just very satisfying to use, but then she gets boring very fast, because everything dies way too easily because of the 2. But I would say as a whole, she is easily an A+. Like, she is very good. She's got all the hallmarks of a good frame. The only thing that she would probably need is an armor strip. But thanks to the corrosive shards now, that isn't really too much of an issue. Okay, it's the second Gara. Garuda. I don't remember playing much of Garuda. Let me see. Let me put something in randomly. So, I have played Garuda a bit, and I do think she's very cool. Like, her Dread Mirror is very good, even though I do think it's a little finicky, because there are times where I'm pointing directly at the enemy, you guys still get hit. But it's really cool how you can build up the damage with it as well. Blood Altar, I don't care what anyone says, it's actually a pretty solid ability if you want to go for a health tanking setup. You just need to invest in the range to make it most viable. Bloodletting is very good. It basically gives you infinite energy at the cost of your health, which is easy to refill with Blood Altar. And Seeking Talons, the fact that you can instantly proc, like, slash ticks per, like, damage tick that you do, instantly makes it great, because then you can use it on weapons that normally can't proc slash. And she just synergizes really well with weapons, especially with her augment for, I think it's either Dread Mirror or Blood Altar that makes it so that you regain ammo or something like that, so you can infinitely, or no, not gain ammo, but like instantly reload. That's what it is. Because I've tried a lot of her augments, but I don't own all of them. I think I sold most of them actually. But she is, as a whole, personally, I think she's a solid A. Like, I do think her biggest issue is probably survivability, but there's ways of working around that now because of the shield changes and companions being a thing. So I think she is a solid A, like a really good gun berserker type frame while also having like the damage of her exalted claws if you want to invest in the melee. So yeah, like solid A. And the fashions are particularly great. Gaus. Gaus. I have a zero form of build on him, and he was easily able to nuke with his 3. Gaus is, I mean, objectively, he's an S. To me, he's more of like a B. I didn't have a whole lot of fun playing him personally. I know that sounds heretical, but I thought he was like, he just made the game a little too easy for me, but I cannot deny that I do think he is a solid S tier frame. Like, Mock Rush, really good as a traversal tool. It also helps build up the battery, so you can use Redline. Kinetic Plating, a very solid damage reduction power, but the only unfortunate side effect being that it only defends against certain damage types, so you still have to be careful. But most enemies will do the damage types it's resistant to, like physical damage, heat damage, blast, etc., so it's not too big of a problem. And Thermal Thunder, at least his version of it, easily one of the best nuke powers in the game. Like, I mean, when I did the Rift Guide video, you literally saw my buddy nuking the room constantly. Like, it is a very good power. And then Redline, super fucking strong. A really good weapon and damage buffing ability. I can't say anything that's really bad about this ability, except for the fact that I wish it was more of a channeled ability instead of relying on the duration. Gaus is good, more fun than trying to think and, okay, how do I make this work with this guy? Yeah, that's the thing. With Gaus, he just does his thing, and you don't have to put a lot of thought into it, and for that reason, I do think he's pretty good for the general populace that plays the game. It's just that, to me, I like more intricate sides of frames, so I kind of found Gaus to be a little boring. But that's really all I could say about him. I just think he's boring. Like, personally, I probably wouldn't put him higher than a B, but objectively, he's an S, like, easily. Like, he could just do everything so well. And the fact that he has a built-in armor strip on his Thermal Thunder while using a red line means that he can easily scale. Like, you can't say anything that's really bad about this frame because he has very little drawbacks. With the only one being, like I said, Kinetic Plating only resists certain damage types, not all of them. Okay. So with that, so yeah, easy S, even though I personally don't like him that much. So Gyre. Good old electric ballerina. I do. He is Revenant Octavia tier of boring. Yeah, he. Oh, broken. Oh, yeah. Me waiting for Floman's tier list that will never come. So this works all. Yeah, all right, Maru. So here's the thing. For those of you who've been following my channel for a long time, I don't know if they're here, but I do know that before the New Year's came, I did do a Gyre guide. And back then, I initially said that I didn't think Gyre was nearly as good as people said that she is, and I would even go as far as say that she was bad. Because, back in the day, she had very little survivability because shields were shit. Her 1, 2, 3, and 4 didn't have any, like, shield regain of any kind, and she didn't have a built-in armor strip of any kind. Meaning that you had to rely on subsuming Coil Horizon for fucking pillage, and like I said, band-aids, using helmet as a band-aid shouldn't justify a badly designed frame. And for that reason, I thought she was bad, even though you could make her good, but using only one subsum in the game, which is Hildren's Pillage, which was, at the time, Hildren was very hard to get a hold of, which I thought trying to say a frame's good because you needed a sub-zoom from a frame that was hard to get was stupid. But now, thanks hilariously enough to the Abyss of the Goth, which came out only a few weeks after I posted that video, I think because of the amount of tools that we have now, and with the shield changes, she has gone from what I considered to be a D tier frame to a solid A tier. Or A minus, rather. Because a few big reasons. One, the reason why I put her so low is that cathode current. This should literally just be put into her base kit. There's no reason it should be an augment. Like, without this, you literally can't play her, I would say. Her 1 is really good at spreading the status effects, which are used to allow her abilities to crit. Her 2 is a really good grouping tool, basically a worse larva, but it does more but it actually does damage and stuff, so I consider that to be pretty good. And I also think it's funny that it's like a bowling ball. Cathoid Grace is a really good energy restoration tool and boosts the hell out of your weapons when using them. And her 4, especially with an armor strip, is one of the best in the game, especially when combined with Cathode Current, that allows you to restore the duration of her 3 and her 4 when getting kills. And now I said, like I said, you need an armor strip. Well, we got companions, like the Panzervolt Violet for that. And when using Vicious Bond, right here, the quills that the Panzer sends out in the spores deal physical damage, apparently, so they'll proc the effect. So you can get Viral and an armor strip by just using a companion, and you can get it similar with the Helios or the Hounds, which means that all of her problems are literally fixed by just utilizing the companions instead of relying on the helmet. And because of that, the thing is, her augment was a part of her kit when she was released, but it made her too strong. Well, yeah, I know, Resonance. It's just that I still think it's just really stupid. Like, Band-Aid augments are, like, really fucking stupid. Like, I can understand the extra damage thing being an augment, but the base, like, mechanic duration should just be baked into the kit. It also work really well with the green shards, where if you use something like the Amprex with Corrosive Heat, you can get the armor strip as well. But besides the point, I think before Abyss of the Goth, she was a D. After Abyss of the Goth, she's an A minus. Because, like I said, you still need to rely on, like, companions or the green shards to get the strip that you need. Didn't come back to Warframe when Zeraman came, though. Ah, I see, Morrow. And that's just the thing. Like, I think if you have the right tools, without helmet, like I said, because like I said, a helmet shouldn't count. I do think you can make her work. And even without an armor strip, so long as you're using the right weapons, you can get her to work. Maybe not level cap work, but you can get her to work really well. So an A minus, I think, is pretty justified, simply because she has damage and energy regen, but lacks any sort of survivability or armor strip unless you rely on the companions or other mechanics. So I think that's fine. I think she could be better. Oh wait, I didn't want to do that. So, A minus. Alright, next. Harrow! Oh yeah, this is my Adeptus Mechanicus look, what do you think? I'm like a huge Warhammer buff, and I just looked at Harrow's helmet, and I was like, yeah, that's Adeptus Mechanicus right there. I pray to the Omnissiah. But anyway, outside of the fact that Harrow is really fucking badass and a lot of fun to play, I do think in a lot of ways, he is a nigh-perfect Warframe. His 1 is an excellent shield regeneration tool, as well as CC, that then feeds into his penance, where with the overshields, you get the increased lifesteal, fire rate, reload speed based on the amount of shields that you have. Or no, the strength of it isn't based on that, it's based on It increases duration, that's right. I didn't mean that. It also provides healing. His 3 free energy regen for yourself and your squad, which is really, really good. Not to mention boosting the headshot multiplier as well. I forgot about that. Why did I forget about that? And then Covenant, not just for Harrow himself, but also for the squad, is an amazing, like, invincibility tool and boosts your crit chance by a flat 50% at max. And since it doesn't scale, you don't need a whole lot of strength to make his kit work. Your boosting your strength just gives you slightly more buffs, but it's not necessary for the 4th. All I probably have with Harrows is that he's pretty stressful to play. Oh yes, the Warframe that brought me 2 things. A demon in my ship and the second Warframe with energy gain in the game, I think. I think so. You might be right about that, Moreau. And I think as a whole, Harrow's kit is nigh perfect. The only problem that I do have with it is maybe armor strip. But even then, that's not really necessary because of the amount of buffs that we have now, and especially because first being Trinity. Oh, okay. Like, as a whole, Harrow is an incredible frame. But, like Gear said, I do think he's a little too stressful to play for me. Like, there is a lot of stuff that you have to micromanage, which can be a bit of an issue, but even then, just casting Covenant every once in a while using your 1 and 3 is enough. His 2, I feel like, could use maybe some tweaks to make it more viable to use, outside of just, like, increased fire rate and shit. But it's still a very good ability. Harrow B+. Nah, Pugs, I think Harrow is a solid A-, especially after the shield changes and with companions. Because he can just buff the hell out of your squad. The only issue that I do have with Harrow, outside of the armor strip thing, and even then that's not a big issue, is the fact that he's surprisingly better when played solo, because he needs to be actually getting the kills and dealing with the enemies in order to get the buffs. So because of this, ironically, despite him being a support frame, he actually works better solo, because if you play a squad with allies that are really strong, he can't get the kills or the enemies to get his buffs going. So, even though he's a really good support frame, and a really good solo frame, it has its flaws, I think he's a solid A-. Like, he could just do so many things so well. The only issue is that he isn't the best at utility as well, which I forgot to mention with some of the other frames, where, like, he's really good at damage and shit, and buffing, but he's not good for anything but that. Like, for example, defense and things like that. He's not particularly amazing at those. Okay. So, Hildren. Muscle Mommy Prime. I haven't played you in a while, actually. Oh my god, this build is disgusting looking. I need to fix it. I have not played Hildren in so long. Like, the last time I played her was when she came out, and like for a month or 2 after she released. So let me fix this. Of course, you're judging frames on defense. Pugs, I don't even think Limbo is that good at defense either. Like, he's great, sure, in some ways, but not amazing. I'm just saying in general. And no, Limbo isn't good as a defense frame. He's good as a utility frame. Okay, let me find one more mod to put in. Okay, there we go. That's good. Hildren. Her Balefire, I think, is okay. Like, it's a really good weapon, don't get me wrong. But I find myself hardly ever using it when I play her. Like, she's very strong, but this is probably the one ability in her kit that I use the least. And even though it's very strong, I find myself just using my normal weapons. I do like how you get the Akimbos in Aegis Storm, though. Her 2, Pillage, one of the best subsumes in the game, and as a power by itself, it's very good. Strips shields and armor, gives them back to you, and gives you overshields, removes status effects. It is a very, very good ability. That synergizes very well in Blazing Pillage, which applies heat damage and restores additional shields. Muscle Mommy with several builds because yes, you can make it work than just using Loom. Love her with Architecture on melee. Exactly, Morrow. Like, she is very good. Haven is a very, very good ability, especially when combined with Blazing Pillage. Provides shields to allies and damage over time to enemies. Surprised Helmet Pillage hasn't been nerfed. That's true, actually, Morrow. Pillage at base doesn't have the best drain, but even then, it doesn't hurt to just cast it twice. I honestly prefer just doing it twice and applying things everywhere else instead of losing a bunch of range to strength or duration. Haven, like I said, just now, very good, very strong, has a really good damage type, very good support power. Aegis Storm, very good for crowd control, but oh my god, do I hate how slow it is. Like, it is a strong ability, don't get me wrong, and it also gives, like, energy orbs and stuff like that, but I don't like using this ability at all. So when I play Hildren, it's mostly, like, either using her one occasionally, and then her two or three a lot, and I either rarely use Aegis, or I just subsume it, which is sad, because it looks so awesome. But even then, it's still a good ability, it's just that it's overshadowed by her other three. And she could tank really well because her shields are buffed out the wazoo. She's surprisingly fast. Please let us use abilities with 4th active. That would be really nice. Like, if you could use abilities while the 4th is active, I think it would make her way better. But unfortunately not. Can I get a spoiler? What do you rate Ureli? Not yet, Pugs. We'll get to her. We'll get to her. And I think as a whole, I think she's an excellent support frame in her niche, because her niche is shields. She just struggles against Infested, and even then Blazing Pillage kind of fixes that. So I would say she is, as a whole, probably a B+. Like, she's not amazing. Like, I think she's really good as a support frame, and is very strong. But I do think other frames can provide... I wouldn't say provide stronger buffs than Hildren, because if you're looking strictly for shields and damage over time, she's got it covered. But that's about it. Like, for example, I wouldn't really take a Hildren on a capture mission, probably, or some other type of missions where utility is key. Because she is very good at support and damage, but that's about it. It's like the same problem with Harrow, like, not the most utility. Alright, let me see. So Inaros, haven't leveled him up at all, haven't played the normal version, so we're not going to be ranking him, so we'll move on. Ivar. So I know on a poll, many months back, oh my god, I gotta rank her up again. Or not rank her up again, but add something in. What did I want to do? It wasn't quick thinking, it wasn't redirection. What was I going to put in her? Vigor, vigilante vigor. LMAO, that fashion. Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best. Oh, now I remember, it was overextended, that's right. The high range. Hildren with adaptation and Sentinel with Guardian can be useful for a streamer who reads chat. That's true, Dave. What happened with Hydroid? So, yeah, the funny thing is I don't have Hydroid yet. I have a sub-zoom version of him, but I don't have his prime or anything. Like, straight up, I haven't touched Hydroid since his update came out, like, genuinely. Rip old Inaros, I had old clan members from my old clan use Inaros for Archons and stuff. And not die. True. Yeah, I like this fashion, actually, though. Like, a lot. Ain't no way. Yeah, I'm not kidding, Jay. Like, here's the thing. He looks great, but I just wasn't interested in him at all. So, Ivara. I actually think, not just because her utility is amazing, because the amount of missions that she can do, but I actually think that Ivara is not only one of the most underrated frames in the game, but is the one so close to being an S that I still can't give her an S. I have to put her in A+. Because she is so good. Like, I do have a sub-zoom, but... Quiver? Honestly, for some reason, I don't Digvar, I don't know why. Well, I mean, she's just slow is the problem. Like, she's a slow frame. Like, you're meant to be stealthy with her. Like, I think the analogy that I saw that I kind of perpetuate is that she's basically playing Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Rising, where she's mainly centered around stealth in a game that's about blitzing through. I use them in Deviri because there's so many corrosive Gen 6. Yeah, I know, yay. Like, Hydroid's very good there. But if you guys actually do want to hear about Hydroid, my buddy Box a Soldier, who's in the Discord as well as Nova server, loves Hydroid, and he'd be willing to talk about him a bit more. So, if you guys want to hear more about him, I'd recommend talking to Box if you decide to join the server. But Quiver, very good utility. The stealth arrow in particular is very good because you can put on Sentinel so you can have a mobile invis temporarily. Ivar can can't survival, but many people who showcase her are at risk of bans or exploits. Yeah, that's the problem, Dave. Like, Ivar is so good at camp builds that I know that what's his name, Ayunte, got banned because of it, which is still really stupid. Like, he should never have been banned, I would say. At least to me, he shouldn't have. Quiver, like I said, very good. The amount of utility it provides is pretty good. The only arrow that I don't really like is, what's up, everybody? I'm the Baker. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. Easy for her to level up Cephalon Samaras by scanning in open worlds. Yeah, she's pretty good at that too. Yay. And the only arrow that I don't think is particularly great in here is probably the noise one. But even with that, the other ones are just really nice. Like the sleep arrow is very good, the stealth arrow is very good, the dash wire arrow is very good. And you can still fire it while in her Artemis bow, which is very nice. And Navigator is like a really good damage buffer, even if it's kind of silly to use or obtuse, because it requires you to be like very precise, I would say. But it can fire so many different projectiles, and even can fire certain Warframe abilities, from what I've seen, which I still think is hilarious. And the amount of damage that you can get is incredible. Yeah, Var is my main for smart scans and ammo conservation. Yeah, Dave knows what's up. Prowl, one of the best stealth abilities in the game, hands down. And it can also loot enemies, which is a nice little plus, even if it's not the biggest one. And it's just a really good stealth power, especially for survival missions and stuff, or like any spy missions and stuff. Artemis Bow, not the best exalted weapon, but especially with its augment, turns into what I would consider a better weapon than the Kuva Brahma. One of the best stealth abilities, all it forces you to walk. Yeah, Pugs, but you can use parkour velocity and still roll inside of Invis, so you can speed around, so it's not a big issue. Like, I've seen builds where they'll just stack the parkour velocity stuff on her, and she'll blitz from one side of the map to the other instantly. Prowl looting conservation animals feels weird / funny. She saved me from a horrible pigment farm plant. I did not know that. Yeah, Pugs, like, she could speed up if you have the parkour velocity stuff on her. Oh, pretty bird, yoinks feathers. God damn it, that's good. But yeah, Artemis Bow, even without the augment, is really good. With the augment, I consider it better than the Kuva Brahma. I'm not sorry. Like, it force procs impact, so you can easily get slash on it. Well, on the augmented version, if it's a normal version, it'll proc like slash and stuff like normal. The bow right here is moddable, and it's pretty good at that, I would say. I do need to remod it though, because I've changed how I mod things a little bit since then. Like, this is from a while ago. But she is just such a good frame. When you have... Oh, wrong thing. She is such a good frame when you know what she needs and how to play her. Much like a lot of other frames in the game. But I will say there are a few problems. One, yes, the walking is annoying. But, like I said, she can be fixed just by using parkour velocity shards very easily. She's great for many Riven challenges too. Yeah, that's mostly what I use her for, Dave, is the Riven challenges. Like, especially the get the stealth headshot kills one in particular was very nice. And she's overall just a really good frame. Like, people tend to shit on her and not think she's good. I actually do think she's borderline S tier if it wasn't for the fact that she couldn't bullet jump in her prowl. Like, if she could do that, she would easily be up there. Dispatch overdrive on a glaive helps her movement speed too. Really? I did not know that, Dave. That's actually really cool. And not to mention, her fashion with the right stuff, like some of these skins, like especially this one, and this one, and this one are just so cool. Can her sleep arrow sleep fishes, though? I have no idea if it can or not, Moreau. I would assume it could. But anyway, she's an A+, borderline S if it wasn't for the fact that she's slow. Oh, and also the fact that she doesn't really have an armor strip, and she can't really take advantage of frames other than the Helios to provide that, because of the simple fact that she doesn't spam her abilities a whole lot. But that's besides the point. She's very good. A+. Lavos. I'm gonna get this fashion out for him. My Spectral Snake Boy. And I do have the ones here for armor strip, though I can use Corrosive on the Vile Rush to armor strip. To be honest, I am gonna go against everybody when it comes to Lavos in the community and say that I think Lavos is a S- frame. Ivar with Latron puncture armor strip can work. That's true, Dave. That's true. Like I said, there are other methods of getting her to armor strip, so it's important to keep that in mind. But Lavos is an S-, and the reason why I say that, how well does armor stripping with Vile Rush work with 2 greens? Oh, dude, Pugs. Vile Rushing, using armor strip on Vile Rush is awesome. Like, with the green shards. Like, he could strip so easily with Vile Rush. Not to mention the cold damage is very nice, but yeah, Lavos is so much fun. Like, Lavos is an S-. Can you demonstrate that, actually? Yeah, I could show it. 1 second. We'll go into the sim for this, then. We'll do the rest in the sim. There's hardly any info on Lavos online. I want to see that. Yeah, it is so good. It takes a little bit of time to build up, but because the cold builds up as well, they stay in the pool, so they'll get stripped very fast. Lavos Prime by the end of the year is Cedo Prime 2. Yeah, I'm buying the Prime Access when he comes out. Like, Lavos is literally... Yo, Jesus Christ, hello, welcome to the chat. We got Jesus in here, everybody. That's awesome. Jesus is hearing me of spreading the holy Bible of Lavos. Man, let me remove... And you know what, I can keep Jack. Yo, Jesus Christ. It's actual fucking Jesus, everybody. That's awesome. I'm a big fan. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Yo, I got Jesus on my side. Let's go. So, we'll do this. So, watch this. Do you think Lavos can walk on water? Nah, he falls in whenever I do that. Yeah, here. So here, see? The corrosive stacks are building up, and they're stripped. Kind of. It kind of depends on if they're in the pool or not, but you see the idea. Lavos can turn water to wine. Yeah, because he's the alchemist. And because of the status duration too, it makes it very easy to just do this again. So if you didn't get enemies the first time, you just do it again. And they'll get stripped. See? Yeah, see, he can easily strip now because of this. Can it extend the corrosive procs? Exactly, Dave. Exactly. So you can have an easy 12-second or so armor strip once they're fully stripped. Like this. Now, I'm not doing it the best here because I'm using a different weapon, but you get the idea. Can you give commentary on how to play Lavos, please? I'm an aspiring Lavos player. Yeah, so the way he works, especially with his augment for his 1, is that you use the 1, the 2, and the 3 to spread status. Lavos relates potential. I played Dota 2 years ago, so use no matter how much elements get buffed, Lavos will be buffed. Yeah, Lavos, like, because he has access to all the different elemental damage types, so he can go against anything. His kit is pretty well designed, I would say, especially with the augments. where you prime enemies with your 1, 2, and 3 technically, but you also use your 3 to shorten the duration of his other powers. And then once they're primed, you unleash the 4. It's not the best here, but you get the idea. Like, the whole idea behind Lavos is spreading the status effects to make his 4 nuke. And if you have it like that with enough enemies nearby, it shortens the duration of his other powers. So you can easily, like, go through and nuke. Oh wow, that was damage. But the thing is that the biggest problem that he has, and this is why I'm gonna bust up the Cedo now, real quick, is that he needs to be able to dish out as many status effects as possible to get the damage that he needs. I don't think I've ever seen a Lavos in a pub lobby outside of Railjack. He'll go double primers and see Lavos kill shitface. Yeah, like Lavos, he's genuinely one of the most underrated frames. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that Limbo existed, I probably would be maining Lavos. Like, he is such a cool frame. And if you use the Cedo, and then do this, easy nuke. Obviously better with more range, but you get the idea. Like, his whole kit is just centered around spreading elements, infusing those elements into his powers. Lavos main videos would get you just as many views. Probably would, yeah. Like, Lavos is genuinely the most underrated frame in the game, alongside the likes of Banshee. Like, he can so easily nuke and deal so much damage if you know what you're doing. And this is where I now need to talk about his abilities. So, his 1, well, just in general first. He has lots of armor, lots of health. He even go a basic health tank build and Lavos will kill. Lavos is the Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, I'll be back, my child. Alright, Jesus Christ, I'll see you later, man. But yeah, like, I also have Precision Intensify specifically for his 4. Lavos is one of the most versatile frames because he can switch statuses to met. Exactly, Dave. That's the thing. His passive literally allows him to change the damage type to whatever the enemy is weakest to. Which any frame that can do that is, like, devastating. His 1, really good as a health restoration tool, and with the augment, reduces the cooldown of his other powers. His 2, really good as a mobility tool, builds up cold on the enemies and spreads other statuses. And especially on other frames, since it also gains the property to not consume energy, it's basically a free ability that provides damage buffing and mobility all in one power with some CC. Like, it's very good. Oh yeah, Moreau, I am so excited for the augment that he's getting. I'll be playing him for a bit when that comes out. His 3 not only spreads statuses a lot, but also reduces the cooldown of his other powers. And then his 4, Catalyze, functions as old condition overload where it's multiplicative. So because of this, he can easily nuke to level cap, especially when combined with the armor stripping properties of the greed shards with his 2. Like, he's just... Oh yeah, he also gets the universal health / energy and ammo from his 3. Like, he is just... Lavos, if you give him a chance, is an incredible frame, which is why I think he's an S-, because the only problems I do have with him is the simple fact that his cooldowns are a bit annoying. Like, if his cooldowns were a little more lenient, like, say, his Catalyze rather than 30 seconds was maybe 20, he would easily be an S+, but for now he's an S-. At least to me. And... Limbo / Limbo Prime. Oh, not this, look. We're gonna do one of my fashions here. We'll do this fashion, actually. Limbo. Oh boy. Dante casting might end up buffing Lavos if they introduce new quality of life. Pugs, Limbo is not D-. Not even close. Limbo is interesting. Because I'm heavily biased, I would normally say like S plus 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 plus. But I do think objectively he is a solid A. You see, oh boy, here we go again. Yay. Okay, so let me explain. His kit, when you know what you're doing, is incredible. So, his passive sensors around the rift, right? Sci-Fi Limbo's S plus tier, easy face, towards drinking. Well, that's the thing. Personally, I would give him S, but objectively, I think he's an A. And there's a reasoning why. You see, yeah, you normally can't hit them like this, so you have to be out of the rift to hit them. So what you need to think about is how do I get these enemies in the rift? Which is where his 1, 2, and 3 come in. Where? Let me remove Banish. So they're in the rift. Stasis gives CC, but also roots them in place. So when I do this, by casting the 3, then holding the 1, rather than sending them out of the rift, I spread the rift. Well, you definitely can't see the emoji, you just read out the emoji name. Which notes do you recommend for practicing solo limbo play? So Dave, I'd recommend any Grineer survival mission, personally, or just any Grineer mission in general. Because the Grineer are the easiest ones for limbo to deal with. And with this, you can easily spread the rift and get everybody under your status. Which, by the way, I was wrong from the last stream. Apparently, you can just use base range to get the 1 through 3 to work. So you can do this. And now that they're under the rift, I can kill them like this. Probably would choose a better weapon because I don't like the Speedo for this, but you get the idea. Oh, I put them out of the rift, but never fear, I can do this. Oh, I'm using my high range build. Oh, no wonder why I'm catching them in the rift so easily. Oh well. I can still show it with base range. Real quick. Yeah, it's like this. Cool, I think I want to do a Limbo Kubro Mecha strategy. It's so funny thing, Dave Elliott, if you go into the Discord, there's a friend of mine there who plays Limbo and he uses the mecha set. And he thinks it's pretty good. I'm fond of Limbo, mainly because found him interesting and no one made videos about him, so knowledge wasn't really there. Buff his team play, gameplay, and it will be so good. Yeah, that's the thing about Limbo, is that as a solo frame, I do think he is one of the best in the game, if not the best. Because he has survivability, he has CC, he has damage buffing, he can do practically anything when solo. But if you're in a squad, he can be problematic, to put the least. And there are ways around it, obviously. Let me bring this out real quick. So I'm going to do the base range build right here, so this one. So this is a base range cataclysm setup, where the way I'll just play them is like this. Where I just plop the cataclysm down on the enemies, and just do this. I'm pretty sure Limbo is the most powerful Warframe ever. Yeah, canonically Limbo is the strongest. And it is kind of reflected in game. It's just that he's not very team friendly. And I can just play it like this, where I just shoot in the cataclysm. Or better yet, let me spawn them again real quick. Where I can still prime them with the 1 through 3. Like this. Because it still spreads even though it's at base range. It just takes longer. So I can do this. Oh, these guys are not in the rift, so... Oh well, never fear. Phantasma is here. But yeah, when you know what you're doing, Limbo is easily an A tier frame. The only problems I do have, which thankfully I think the dumb question, do you think Limbo does bodily functions inside or outside? Oh god. Dave, I am not going to answer that question. I am not going to answer that. But one of the problems I do think Limbo does have is just dealing with some of the Eximus. Only issue, dear God, how to differentiate enemies in the Rift. Oh yeah, like that is another issue. He has two issues, or a couple of them. One is that he tends to struggle against some of the Eximus. Like the one in particular that he does have an issue with is the Toxin one. But I do think that the changes to Eclipse with the damage reduction will fix that. Hello, Jesus Christ, welcome back. I do think the changes to Eclipse will fix that, because then we'll be able to tank it. Jesus Christ versus Limbo. Who would win? Probably Jesus, not gonna lie. And then there's the other problem is just visibility, because when you played Limbo for as long as I am, I can easily differentiate who's in the Rift and who isn't. But because very few people play him, it's hard for other people too. Limbo's Purgatory, exactly. Limbo's Purgatory. And I feel like if he either had something to deal with the Eximus a bit better, and what happens if you Rift Surge the Son of God? Then the Son of God will be pulled into my Purgatory, I would assume, Pugs. And then just visibility changes, I think he does need. But outside of that, if you're playing solo, he is easily one of the best frames in the game, if not the best, like an easy A, maybe even S tier. But if you're playing in a squad, you end up with a son of a Rift. But if you're playing with a squad, unless you're running the base range setup or you're banishing the DPS as part of like a strategy, I personally wouldn't bring Limbo to like something that involves killing the enemies like survival. Rift God instead, LMAO, easy win. If you're playing a squad, you end up with a solid F tier. No, Pugs, like, he's not F tier by any means. Like, he can easily play Limbo in a squad very easily and provide solid DPS. Like, literally yesterday I was playing with well-played ninjas, and the moment I left, he fucking died. Because I accidentally left early. Like, he does provide solid support for a squad. It's just that he's a little too intrusive. So for that reason, I think he's a B. Because there are ways of working around the rift, especially you can also get blocked very easily. Yeah, that's also a problem too. Yeah. That's just the problem. Like Limbo, if you're smart with Limbo in a squad, he is very good, but just in general, he's not the best for it, which is why he's more of a solo frame. So I do think if you're playing, I liked your video on Limbo duos. Yeah, that was pretty good, I would say. Like when you know what you're doing with Limbo, he is easily one of the best frames in the game. Has to be B, either Big Callus or you go by yourself. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can agree with that. Like he's a solid B tier in a squad, but solo he's like an A or S tier. Or actually, we'll go S tier. So in average, he's an A. Like solo S, squad B, so average he's A. I like this stream, my child. Thank you, Jesus. I'm happy. I'm happy you like it. So, Loki. Loki. Let me bust this out. I do have a sub zoom on his one, but we'll swap it off in a moment. I'm just gonna spawn these enemies real quick and then I'm gonna go back in. I use this for like sleep builds, but let me swap over. So Loki is interesting. If you're the real Jesus Christ, teleport into a simulacrum right now. So I do think the Loki changes are going to make him very much better, but for now, I'm still going to rank him a little bit. Stream certified approved by Jesus, we got proof. No other streamer has been blessed with Jesus' presence like you. Thank you. Thank you again, Jesus. Oh god, that's out of water. I'll need to refill that soon. But, so Loki. I do think with the changes that are coming, he's going to become much better, but I'm going to still rank him now. So, Decoy is, like, here's the problem with Decoy. It's flimsy as shit, but it does have the highest aggro in the game. So hopefully with the changes, you will have luck for the next year. Oh, thank you, Jesus. I thank you a lot for the luck. Loki's hologram, if it wasn't the fact that it was so flimsy, would be an excellent CC because it has the highest aggro in the game. So on defense missions in particular, this would be one of the best. But it's flimsy as shit. Hey, come on. Come on, Pug. And especially with Banish Decoy, if you decide to go that route, you can make it an invincible aggro. So it's pretty good in that regards, but then again, that's a sub-zoom, so we can't really count it there. Like, if it wasn't for the fact... Exactly, Pugs. Like, here's the thing. Is that it's really good for the aggro, but the health it has is awful, but with the rework that he's getting for it, it will make it good. Hopefully. Invisibility is the best invisibility power in the game next to Ivar's Prowl. The only issue being that you have to you can't recast it while it's in its animation, so you have to wait. But it's a very good stealth ability, pretty much good for every mission. Low-key fond of him, really. Instead of using a DPS Warframe, you can use a CC Warframe and use weapons to kill stuff. Gives me a glimpse to the past in a way. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Loki's old as hell. Yeah, Decoy and Banish. Yeah, Decoy Banish is pretty good. But then again, like I said, we're not counting sub-zooms here, so that doesn't justify it. But that's so cool to think. Switch Teleport is getting a massive buff in Dante Unbound. It won't stagger you on use anymore. That's the other thing, too. It is being changed, but as of right now, it doesn't work that way. It has an augment that makes you invincible for like 10 seconds. That's true, too. That is true. But like I said, that's coming in Dante Unbound, at least the rework the teleport. So for now, as is, it's not particularly great. Like, it is good for some missions, like especially some spy missions, but as a whole, you're better off just assuming it. So I would give this a solid maybe D tier or C. Decoy, similar thing. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that it was so flimsy, it would be really good. Judging on Dante and Bound standards, come on, man. Well, it's like 10 days. I know, Pugs, but we don't know how it actually works just yet. We gotta wait. And contrary to what people say, I think Radial Disarm, especially with its augment, is a really good crowd control. Because, one, it's really good on defensive type missions where you can reduce enemies to melee so they can't hit the target from a distance anymore. And a melee target without all that range makes them basically... Loki gonna be running like 4 augments. Yeah, and that's the other problem is they suffers from augment syndrome. Like, can you accept my friend request? Sure, Jesus, you could send it in-game. And the biggest problem with Radial Disarm, I feel... Oh. Oh, hey. Hey, AX. Wait, yay, is that you? Hounds can do that, though, so Loki lost. No, Dave, well, Dave, here's the thing. You have to wait for the hounds to proc it. You have to wait for the hounds to proc it. Whereas with Loki's Disarm, he could do it automatically without having to worry. And not only that, yes, you can use the hounds, but then again, that wastes a companion slot that you could use for something else if you want to go for another solid build. Which you could argue for the other ones, but the difference is that this is baked in the Loki's kit already and isn't necessary to run the hounds. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, by any means, but just keep in mind, whereas the hounds have to do it oldie-fashioned Radial Disarm, you can make it work, and people say it's not used because people can't get away from melee range, lol. As Rebecca said once, it is a skill issue, lol. Exactly. Like, reducing targets to melee, especially in a squad, massively boosts the survivability of your team. And for that reason, I think it's pretty good, and especially with its augment radial disarm, or radiating disarm, it makes it into like a mini chaos, which is very, very good in my opinion. Like I said, he's not amazing. He has his problems. He definitely needs a rework, but I think as is, he's probably a solid B-. Like, he has the abilities, and has a decent amount of stuff, he just needs tune-ups, like a lot of them. And he does suffer from augment syndrome. And whatever armor strip you do need, you can put it onto your weapons. I'm just saying that Hound's Disarm is a way to bring a pocket Loki as your companion, which can lure. Well, I know, Dave. I know. I'm just saying, if you want to run Loki, I'm just saying Radial Disarm is better to keep. They're just going to keep putting augments on Loki and have him be the ultimate utility, which I'm honestly fine with. It's a nice. Well, yeah, that's the thing, Pugs. I don't want him to be a DPS frame. Like, I think he's fine as utility. Switch teleport buff makes him 2 times better, literally. Yeah, that's true. But like I said, as of right now, he's not amazing. And I do think the changes are going to fix him, but we don't know how he'll perform yet, so we gotta wait. But for now, he's a B minus. Like, he works. He's old as hell. He still works, he just needs a lot of tune-ups. Okay. So, Mag. I have not played you in fucking forever. Jesus Christ. So, I have a soft spot for Mag. I really like her. She wasn't my first frame, but she was one of the first starter frames I got after I started the game. Because I picked Volt first, and then I got her later. I don't think she's S plus. I think she is an S minus. And let me explain why. You see, she has a few problems, and they're not really to do with her kit herself. I think her whole kit works really well. Her pull, very good CC ability, can be combined with Magnetize to pull enemies in. Magnetize alone is one of the best damaging powers in the game. Especially with its hold cast is pretty cool because you do like a Kamehameha. Her Polarize is very good for the Polarize shards to boost the damage over 2. And if I remember correctly, does it give shields? No, it just boosts the damage. Okay, boosts damage. And then her Crush not only gives shields / overshields, but can also be combined with her Augments, Fracturing Crust to armor strip with the ability. And even though that's a direct upgrade, it's not entirely necessary because, again, we have the corrosive shards now, but if you want to go for armor strip, you have it here. Work in Symbost really works now, though I feel like a certain YouTuber which YouTuber would that be, Moreau? Because I feel like I might know who you're talking about, but I'm not entirely certain. Oh yeah, really quickly, let me also go into communication. Have you tried Blood Altar with Magnet I've seen Blood Altar with Magnet David. Dave. I haven't used it yet. 2 pending. Oh my god. It's actually... Oh, Baker? Oh, it's Shy. Okay. It's Shy. Really? It was Shy? Damn! I didn't know that. Well, we got Jesus Christ now. We have fucking Jesus Christ. God damn, that's awesome. Okay. Okay, let me go back to this now. But yeah, she ruined the reputation of the frame, and it was just accepted as fact she was trashed for the longest time. I remember she talked shit about Mag a lot. Yeah, that's really weird. I don't know why she would do that. I mean, I get that she's a troll a bit, but I don't know why she would trash Mag in particular. Like, she's really good. Oh, hey, Lucifer. We've got Jesus Christ and Lucifer here. She has had hundreds of mags. Interesting. Like, she has shields, overshields, armor strip, damage buffing. She has a nigh perfect kit that synergizes extremely well. My only issue, which has kind of been fixed with the shield changes, is a little bit of survivability, because, like, shields were kind of like wet paper at the time. And I do think she has energy problems. Like, she is a very spammy frame. So because of that, you tend to run out of energy very fast. Like, even with this high efficiency build I'm running here, like with this one, and lowering duration, I'm still having issues. Mostly because Mag was shit before, but now she's buff. But Jesus Christ, making people see it will be difficult now. I am so angry. Oh. Yeah, Moreau, I agree. It's weird. Like, she's very good. Like, genuinely very good. And like, if it wasn't for the fact that she had the energy problems, like I talked about before, which can be fixed through other means a little bit, but it's still annoying. It would, for this reason, I think she's an S minus. Like she's so close to S. If it wasn't for the fact that she ran out of energy a little too quickly, even with high efficiency. And yes, Maggie is spammy. Even Flo runs out of energy with her with Nourish. That's the thing. Like if it wasn't for the fact that she was so spammy, or correction, it wasn't for the fact that she ran out of energy so quickly with the amount that she spams, she would easily be an S plus. But I do think with that drawback, and even with our different methods to give energy only helping a little bit, easy. Okay, the Grimoire is fine because that's a weapon, but no Nourish. Shai started the mag hate back before shield gaining and when self damage was in the game before adaptation, rolling guard, etc. So it's that's true. I do hope if she ever does return to the game, she may never, but if she does, I hope she kind of fixes that. But anyway, S minus. Very spammy, runs out of energy too much, but otherwise can do practically anything. Shai will never return. You never know, Pugs. She might. Mirage. So, yeah, this is a build that I was trying out, but so controversially, I don't think Mirage is that good. Like, I'm not saying this to be rude, but let me explain. You see, the biggest problem is that, yeah, she's very strong, especially with Eclipse. Her 4 is interesting, even though I've barely played it. Ivar returns one way or another. This is the last straw. L stream, I'm leaving. Pugs. So, Pugs, listen. Even though I personally don't think she's that good, I'm not going to rate her. Yo, what happened when I was gone? Oh, not too much, Jesus Christ. Pug has gotten too pissed off at me. Lucifer joined. Oh, yeah, that's true. Lucifer did join. You're right, Pugs. But, like, here's the problem I have, right? Is that I have tried to play her, and she does look very cool, but I hate how fucking squishy she is. And it's annoying. Like, very annoying, personally. And I don't like the way Eclipse works, so the rework I think will make me like it a lot, especially with the damage reduction being implemented. Her 2, I know is very good for ESO, but I don't really use it for anything else when I tried her. And her 4, I don't really get how it works that well. You can fix her squishiness with drain energy. That's true, Pugs. There is that. Sci-Fi, I can show you how not to be squishy with Mirage later. That's okay, Dark, at some point. Oh, Mirage is a singular spammer. You drain less energy the more armor you have. That's true, Pugs. Like, here's the thing. I know people can make her work, and I don't like her, but I'm still not going to rate her, because I don't feel like I know enough about her to make an objective rating. But if Dark says that he can make her work, he's also in the Discord, so I'd consult him. So, Mirage will be unranked. Necros. Mirage with muzzle flash from Mason can be nicer than using her for. Maybe. So Necros is a frame that I actually do really like, but hardly ever play. So, finally, that's the next, I can almost taste it. So, Soul Punch. Not that good. Not the best. Necros is A. Oh, we'll see. I'm making Pugs pissed. But so here's the thing. I think Soul Punch, if it wasn't for the fact that it would only insta-kill at 25% health, would probably be a really good ability. I just think I feel like if they made it so that it would insta-kill enemies all the time, but maybe had like a drain or like a cooldown, would be really nice. That way you have a way of insta-killing certain enemies, but it's like heavily penalized, where like you have to wait a little bit before casting again. Because right now it's like, it's a little too, easy loot frame. Soul Punches for people who play Necros like Pokemon, Eggs and Myths. Bro, who uses Soul Punch helmets as a guy? Well, Pugs, here's the thing. I'm talking about the frames-based kit. I don't include helmets, like I said. I don't count band-aids. And I feel like if Soul Punch were made to be more interesting, it would make me want to use it more, but for now, like as Pugs mentioned, it's kind of like a free subsume slot at this point, which is sad. Terrify. One of the best armor strips in the game against everything that isn't a boss. I use Soul Punch with Augment, even sue me. Soul Punch needs to be insta kill to not be a free. Exactly, Pugs. Like if it was a free kill that then went into like a cooldown, it would be an excellent ability. But Terrify, like I said, one of the best abilities in the game, so long as it's not against bosses. Against everything else, and as long as the overguarded enemy has its armor removed, it is very good. Especially with the augment creeping Terrify to slow enemies. It is a very, very good power. And the fact that the subsume makes it even better. Because now all other frames can use it. Desecrate, I don't really need to say anything. Extra loot, very good with the augment that drains health. You can use it with, say, like Equilibrium, and have like infinite health and energy and shit. Like, it's a very good ability. Even though I hardly ever use Necros, like, ever, I cannot deny this is an excellent power. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on Acolytes. That's true, Maru. I choose Volt as my Warframe. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Good choice. Volt's a very good starter. And then we have Shadows of the Dead. I am such a sucker for summoner type frames, and this was, when I saw this on Necros, it instantly made me want to play him. Now, unfortunately, it's not the best. Like, the damage isn't amazing on these guys, but just the idea of being a summoner frame, especially with him, is so cool. Especially because you can summon Eximus units, too. But Gaus can run on water. Dave. As cool as that is, Dave, that just because you can run on water, that doesn't make you amazing. Now, Jesus Christ may want to get Gaus later. But yeah, Shadows of the Dead, especially with Shield of Shadows, the augment, I think I have it here. Yeah, right here, Shield of Shadows, allows him to tank like a motherfucker. Like, it is such a good ability. Lol, how do I get Gaus? So Gaus Prime, Jesus, can be acquired right now, so you can just buy them off the market or open up relics. I like seeing my minions kill stuff for me, hence me playing support Warframes, like the ability you want to use Warframe buffs on them. No, but he has stuff in common with Jesus. But yeah, the thing is that Shadows of the Dead is such a good power, and like Moreau said, Warframe buffs work on them. So you could use something like, say, Gloom if you want to allow the shadows to heal from hitting enemies. Like, it's such a good power when you know what it needs. And like recasting the ability also heals them, but that's besides the point. Like Necros, if it wasn't for the fact that Soul Punch was so shitty, he'd probably be an S, but objectively I would say he's an A. Like, everything else he does is pretty good, and even Soul Punch can still be decent as long as you get the enemy below 25% health, which on level cap can be significant to killing them instantly. Where, like, you don't have to dump so much ammo into them. Notice to put viral on them with flowers, even. Yeah, Maru, exactly. Where's Neza? I'm getting to it, Pugs. Don't worry. Just put in sleep. Okay, Neza Prime. So, I'll recommend your channel to my heavenly friends. Oh, thank you, Jesus. That would be amazing. I would love to spread the will of the limbos. And the other knowledge I have. Oh crap, I need to put more. I haven't used Neza in forever. 1 second. Just slap on, like, redirection. Even though he doesn't have a whole lot of shields. So my opinion on Neza is kind of weird, because I did play him a little bit, especially when the Archon Hunts came out, because I got him when he used to be in the Relic Pool. Is Neza a man or a woman? Neza is a boy, but he's a femboy. Sci-Fi Hot Tech, Neza is garbage, moving on. So Moreau, I kind of agree to an extent, but I don't think he's garbage by any means. And there's a reasoning why. It's because my buddy Gamble, he mains Neza, and he explained to me some nuances of his kit that I won't really explain because I don't remember everything, but it kind of made me amazed by what he can kind of do. And especially, I'll play Limbo for my entire time I play when I get him in your honor. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Wait, I was joking. What? LMAO. Well, no, but Moreau, I don't think he's garbage, not even close. But I don't think he's amazing, and I kind of want to explain why. The new augment that's coming out, I'm definitely gonna be playing around with it when it comes out for Divine Spears. But let me explain. I do enjoy Neza, but I don't think he's amazing because Firewalker, it's a decent CC, decent speed bonus. All it needs to be. It doesn't need to be a nuke power or anything like that. Especially when combined with the teleport from Blazing Chakram, which is very cool. I think it's very cool. Blazing Chakram, pretty decent damage buffing power and stuff, and teleportation, especially when combined with the one. Warding Halo, a really good damage reduction power, and it also gives a damage aura around you, which is very good. If a little too small, it basically turns him into something similar to like Rhino or Revenant, where you can tank really easily. And it has Divine Spears, which right now isn't the best, but it certainly isn't bad. Like, it's decent CC. And I do think objectively Neza is probably an A minus. Hey Bintang, what's up? Ranking frames right now. Well, ones I've played and used. But the thing is that I do feel like, at least to me, Neza's just too boring. Yeah, Bintang, it is Jesus. With the augment for his Halo, you can turn him into a support character that works on defense. Well, yeah, that's true. That's something else I wanted to mention. Like, he is very good. Like, I don't think he's bad. Like, not even close. But he's not the first choice I would give. I'm not a Christian, but hello, Jesus. But yeah, he's not my first choice because the things that he can do, other frames like Limbo and other CC frames and damage buffing frames can kind of do better. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't have his uses. I mean, the damage aura, the only god is Limbo. He has like the damage aura and everything. He has Firewalker. He has teleportation. Like, he does really, really good. Like, don't get me wrong, he's really good, but he's not my first choice. Like, not even close. Which is why I don't particularly like him that much. So I think objectively, especially with his augments, he's a solid A minus. But I do think the lack of armor strip and things like that, unless you use weapons, is a small issue. And I do just find him boring to play. Like, he's not bad by any imagination, just boring. So an A plus I feel is like more than enough for him. I'm actually gonna put adaptation here. And I am planning on playing him again when the augment comes out, because I'm very curious about it. But other than that, he's just not fun to me. New augment sounds interesting. It feels like a collective curse, but status based. Morrow. So yeah, A minus. Not S, because I do feel like other frames does what he does but better. But as like a good like utility frame, he's good. He's just not my first choice. Nidus. The infested god. I'm gonna switch to one of my other fashions for this. Do this techno skin, I think. Bro can finally leave it. Took 2 hours to get to Neza. Has it really been 2 hours? Wait a minute. Let me see. Holy shit, it's almost been 2 hours. You're right. Goodbye, Jesus. Fair for not liking Neza, but if I have nothing to work with, fuck it. Whip out Neza and roll. Bye, pugs. Alright, really quickly, I'm gonna leave for a second. I'm gonna go refill my water. I'll be right back. Alright, I have returned. That's nice, it's nighttime here. Yeah, it's like, what time is it right now? It's 9 o'clock where I am, like 9 p.m. So Nidus, ever since I started working on the Nidus guide video thing that I've been cooking for a while, I've grown to love Nidus a lot again, and I've gotten very biased towards him. I turn your water into holy water. Well, thank you, Jesus. It's 10 p.m. here. Uh, but I think objectively, Nidus is a solid A plus, and I want to get to why. Much like much like Harrow, his kit is perfectly synergized. His 1 feeds into his 2 into using his 3 and 4, as well as using his 1 on his 4. His 2 really good with the 1, and the 4 again, well, just in general by itself. His 3 is really good with his 2 and his 4. I'm tempted to put 3 tail blue armor shards on ice. He can benefit from that. I use the health regen ones on Nidus, but that works. His 4 works really well with his 1. Like, everything in his kit synergizes so well together that he doesn't need really any subzooms. And because we have the corrosive shards, he can easily armor surp if you build for corrosive. So that's covered. He has health regen, he has armor. His passive, let me bust it out real quick. Oh wait, fuck. His passive literally makes it, if you have enough stacks, he literally cannot die. and and because of the damage redirection with Parasitic Link, he can easily tank anything up into level cap, especially when combined with adaptation. He's tanky as hell, has a grouping tool. I love Nice because I love Harrow. They both have amazing synergies by themselves. Exactly. I feel like I can't really move with him unless I have stacks. And yeah, that is one of the problems I'll get to in a moment, Morrow. His 1, because it scales with strength and stacks, becomes a nuke tool when combined with his augment that boosts his stacks, which is this one, Abundant Mutation. His 1 has the Teeming Virulence augment to get the crit chance, which goes stupid well on high crit weapons, like high crit primaries. Insatiable gives him free stacks when the parasites kill things. Larva Burst, fucking hilarious. Not a particularly amazing augment, but is so funny to use, especially when you strip it with armor, which is why I have Thero Strike. He has the health regen, the damage reduction. I love how the build is named COVID. Yeah. He has a grouping tool to bring enemies closer. He has his 1 to build up the stacks and kill enemies. Like, he could do practically anything. And because he can link with NPCs and operatives and shit, he can also provide them, like, the damage reduction as well and shit like that. And protect them very easily because of his grouping tools. But there is one big problem that Maru did point out, and that is he is a very stationary frame. Like, his whole loop is centered around standing in his flesh pit, spamming his 1, his 2, and his 3. And I do find that very enjoyable personally, because he's very strong. It can easily nuke. 1 second, grabbing a drink. COVID tentacles go. And he has so much versatility with his augments. But I do think the fact that he's built around being stationary is probably the one thing I do dislike about him. And the fact that he doesn't have innate armor strip is a little annoying, but like I said, green shards, not even an issue. And we have other methods through companions. Like, he is very good and can do practically anything, but unless you like to be stationary, your bet he has a problem with survivability, but it's possible to make it. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty easy to do it so long as you have enough damage reduction, as well as the link. Like, you need to keep link for survivability purposes, and you can't use the augment where it has a 30-second cooldown. Like, you have to constantly. You're going to be constantly, like, proccing it. So that's another issue. But it is possible. But like I said, he has practically everything. The only problem is that he's slow and stationary. So if you like that, he's one of the best frames for your playstyle. But if you don't, then he's annoying. And for that reason, I think he's a solid A plus because he could do what he does really, really well. Tanky as hell, so much damage, so much survivability, and a lot of utility too, especially for buffing allies. Because when you link with allies, it gives them strength boost. But yeah, like solid A plus. So Nova. Nova is interesting to me as well. Let me remove these and try these with the base kit. So I have all of the stuff back on. So Nova was one of the first frames I ever got in the game. Back when I first started, I saw Nova on the cover art of the game, and I was like, haven't touched Nova yet. Oh yeah, but okay, Bentang. I might do a guide on her at some point, but the thing is that she was one of the first frames I got a hold of. Like, I looked up, hey, how do I get Nova? Saw that you needed to farm the Raptor, went and did that, and I used her for the base star chart, and then I discovered Octavia, and then I never touched her again, and then eventually threw her into the helmet once I unlocked it, and then I got her Prime and kind of just never touched her again. And it's kind of sad, because her one, especially with the augment, where is it? Molecular fusion to restore the charges is a really good damage reduction power for health, because it doesn't work on shields apparently, only health. Damage isn't nice. Antimatter drop, especially with the augment, can be made into a really good damage nuking power with good enough weapons. Her 3, one of the best mobility tools in the game for getting across tile sets in the open worlds. Nova, my defense speed, who can also nuke but needs strength to do that. Yeah. And then her 4 is an excellent damage boosting tool and a slow, or you could speed them up by going to negative strength. Like, she's very good for utility and damage buffing. But oh my god, her survivability is ass. Like, I have tried so many times to try and get her to work, and like, unless you can find a good health tanking build, you're better off just using her for a normal steel path and not like level cap or anything. Because she is so annoying to try and get her to work. And I don't know if it's something that I'm doing wrong, or if it's something I'm missing. And I do know that Nova Umbral loves Nova as well. So if you want to learn more about her, I'd suggest talking to him in Nova's Discord. But despite that, like I said, I do think on normal Steel Path, she is very good. I really like her on the rare times I bring her out to test things. She has really good synergies with different subzooms. And if you want survivability, you could probably go pillage or something. Even though, like I said, I don't count that for like level cap. Yo, you can't update it. The Discord link, it won't let me join. Get me in there. Oh, is it not working again? Damn it! I'll go through and fix it after the stream bugs. She always was squishy, even worse before she was getting. Yeah, exactly, Moreau. Like, the biggest problem is that I just think she's just way too squishy. And I don't hate that. Like, I do understand that there needs to be trade-offs, but I do think you have to send the invite to never. I don't know how I do that, Pugs, unfortunately. I have no clue how that works. But yeah, as a whole, especially on normal star chart, she is very good. So I think for that reason, she is a solid A+. Survivability problems, obviously, but if you can work around those, maybe with companions, or if you want to a subzoom, even though I don't count that here, she can work. And she is very good at what she does. Nyx. So let me see. What build do I have? The assimilate. So Nyx is also interesting. I don't. When you make the invite, the timer for it will be right under it. I think it's 2 weeks by default. Anyway, I'll come back to. Let's see if the link's up. Okay, Pugs, that's all right. I'm not doing it right now because it's like the stream, you know, but I'll do it later. Don't worry. But let me see. I don't think Nyx really needs a rework, but I do think she needs a lot of tune-ups. Because contrary to what people say, Mind Control has one of the highest aggros in the game, so it can keep the pressure off of you. Not to mention the damage that does is alright. Not amazing, but okay. Psychic Bolts, even though it's capped at 6 bolts for 6 enemies, generally, as long as you're not doing a survival, you're only going to be seeing that many enemies at a time anyway, so it's not that big of a problem. Not to mention the speed decrease is also really decent. Chaos just arrived. Hey, Christopher. Nyx's funny augment. Yeah, she does. She has some good augments. I sense that Limbo has an augment that heals. Yeah, Limbo does have an augment that heals Jesus, but it only works on allies and NPCs, not Limbo himself, so it's not a good one. Which is the other thing about Limbo, why I put him in A. The only good augment he has is Rift Torrent, the other two are terrible. I forgot to mention that. Next, a CC frame who has potential to go really further without depending on Absorb augment, though needs some work. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, Marco. Chaos, pretty good CC power, in my opinion. I think it's actually better than people give it credit for, but it does need some tune-ups. Assimilate Immortality at the cost of obnoxious movement speed. But yeah, Bintang, the thing is, you can use the parkour velocity shards and move fast. Same thing with Avara. So you can still roll very fast, you just need to invest in the parkour velocity. I get that augment so I can heal my allies. Yes, Jesus. That's exactly how that works. And Absorb? It's sad to say, but Absorb isn't that good as a nuke power. Nah, I use Ghoul Saw to move around. Oh my god, Bintang, that's awesome. Just chainsawing. Absorb with the Assimilate augment allows you to become immortal, but as an actual nuke power, it is not that good. You're better off using it with the augment for immunity. And that's the thing about Nyx. The foundations, I'm a healer, so I must get that augment. It'll cost you about 10 plat, Jesus. And that's the thing, is that Nyx has the potential, but it just isn't there yet. So I think if they rework her, for starters, maybe make it so that the mind control target could do additional bolts, like maybe 6 more bolts. That way, when you have the mind control target, it synergizes with the two. Tune up Chaos. Nah, Bintang, I don't even think the enemy cap is a problem. I just think we need more of them, or have them scale its strength. Because I think it's fine to have the cap, because it's not that big of an issue, but it's just annoying that it's too low. And then Absorb, the augment needs to be put into it, I feel. Or if they're going to change it, remove the speed decrease. Or at least have her be able to bullet jump while in it. Change those things about her, and she could easily be like an S tier frame. But for now, she's a solid B. She's not C, D, or F or anything like that. I don't think any frame is there that I have played. I would say make the bolt scale with something like range. Or that too, yeah. Psychic bolts like have more bolts for the amount of range that you have. That could also work. But you see what I mean, right? Like, I think if she was given tune-ups, she could easily be S, but right now she's just a B. Like, she works. But she's not particularly great. Oberon. I am very biased towards Oberon. Like, even before one particular mod came out, I thought he was pretty good. With the mod I'm thinking of being Precision Intensify. And Oberon, with Precision Intensify, can allow you to get the 100% strip for his 4, while still having enough range and a decent amount of strength for his 1 through 3. Which I did subsume Roar on here, but I wouldn't do that actually, because I did find out, interestingly, that his one not only scales with health and shields of enemies, but it also scales with the amount of radiation damage you do to the target before you hit them with it. The problem with mind control is it doesn't work like radiation procs, so they become your companions, so it makes the mind control enemies AI to be dog shit. Yeah, that's another problem, Bidtang. Oberon's 1, with enough investment, becomes a nuke power. His 2 is free status immunity and extra armor when combined with his 3. His 3 is heal over time and armor. His 4 with the augment gives extra armor and also armor strips. He is a very strong frame with enough investment. But then again, the biggest problem Oberon has is he's a health tank frame, so you can't really do level cap with him. And Phoenix Renewal is pretty good, but you still get the idea. Oberon really works, becomes really funny in circuit with Decrees. I would say if he had a 4th starter, Oberon would be... Yeah, I feel like Oberon is more suited as a starter frame. Like, he really does feel like he would work more as a starter. And I do feel like if they were to tune his kit a bit more, and then maybe rather than just doing renewal being armor, it's instead like damage reduction, he could easily be one of the best, if not the best, support frame. Because he would have armor strip, status immunity, a nuke power, and damage reduction all in his base kit. And especially with his augments giving him radiation damage and stuff on his 1. Also, his armor strips have some goofy interaction with height and lifted. Yeah, it does, Bintang. Probably some things Oberon has would need some work. Yeah, that's the thing. If Oberon had some more work, he would be an easy S. Right now, he's a solid A. Like, he's not bad with enough investment. He's amazing, actually, with enough investment. But then again, it requires the investment, and unfortunately, there are just better options. But if you do decide to use Oberon, I am very biased towards him. Absolutely use him if you feel like it. And if you have Precision Intensify, because it makes it way easier. Just Jesus and Augment, exactly. I'll be back, my child. Alright, Jesus, we'll see ya. His armor strips isn't consistent enough, so you have to be in a flat ground to constantly... I know you do, Bintang, but even so, it has such a high range that it's not that big of an issue. And it's not too bad, but the point still remains. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that he needed so much, he would be amazing. But right now, he's just kind of okay. Or not okay, he's great, but, like, he just needs work. So an A. He's an A. Yeah, shards fix over on many... That's true, the shards did help. So Octavia. So, actually, wait, how many frames do we got left? Oh man, we still got a few. We're getting there, though. So, Octavia. But he's expensive in terms of... Exactly, Benteng. Like, he's good, he's just very high investment. So, Octavia. Octavia is my first ever Prime frame, believe it or not. And I used to play her a lot. I don't anymore because she is the most boring frame in the entire game. Like, genuinely, if I had the power to look at things with bias rather than objectively, she'd probably be down in F for me because she's so boring. I'll put that there for now. But I do have to look at her objectively. So, her 1 scales with enemy damage, which is very nice. Octavia really works. She can even be funny with some funny, annoying Manticore music, but God, she's... Exactly, Mario. Exactly. Like, she has a nuke power in her 1, because it scales with enemy damage. Her 2 is a pretty decent CC. I think it actually works better on some other frames, but it's still pretty good. Her 3, the other buffs are not even that good. Just bother using the invisibility one. Like, her ability to basically go invisible is... Like, I don't know why they put this into her kit. Like, it shouldn't be there, but this is part of why I think she's boring. Because all you gotta do is just crouch spam, and you don't die. And that's so boring. like genuinely. And her 3 it's an okay damage buffer. It does double the range of her 1, but outside of that, it's mostly for damage. And that's where we come to the biggest problem. Because she has her 3 giving her invisibility, she doesn't have to worry about investing in the defense. Movement speed sometimes has to. Oh, okay. That's true, Maru. That's true. Like, she has invisibility, so you don't have to worry about investing in the defensive measures. And it shuts off enemy AI practically, so you don't have to worry about being hit. Just cast your 1, cast your 3, and teabag over and over in one spot, and you have the best AFK frame in the game. And it is for that very reason that I hate her, because I hate AFK styles of play. I don't mind camping styles of play, but at this point she is practically an AFK frame, and that is so boring. But like I said, I have to be objective here. She's an S. Like, she just provides so many buffs. She synergizes very well. Even her least usable power, the Resonator, is still pretty decent. Where do you put Harrow? Oh, I put Harrow in A, Bintang. Like, objectively, she's an S, but personally, she's an F. Like, I absolutely fucking hate Octavia. But I do have to be objective. Protea. So, nice. I'm a diehard Harrow main now. She's fun if you want to jam with your own mixtapes. That's true, Jay. She is. Octavia is fun for the music part, at the very least. So, Protea is interesting to me as well. You see, I think her 1, her 2, and her 4 are excellent, but ironically, I hate her 3. And let me explain why. You see, because of Temporal Anchor, it kind of goes like this. The idea is that you cast this, and you cast this and this, right? And then when you go back, you get all your energy back, which is awesome. But the problem is that her 3 does that anyway, even though it's much slower. It basically gives you the energy that you would need, kind of making, I wouldn't say the 4 useless, but not as good. That was until her augment release that allows you to armor strip with her 2 and her 1. And her 1 provides CC and gives shields when you hold casts. Her 2 gets increased damage over time when hitting enemies and is generally a pretty good turret. Her 3, universal ammo as well as health and energy orbs. And her 4 rewinds time while armor stripping with her 2 and her 1 if you're using the augment. Yeah, most people put Temporal Anchor aside. It makes their gameplay more engaging. Yeah, that's the thing, Maru. I personally like the player without dispensary. Like, I'll actively want to subsume it. Because I find her more entertaining to use with her 4, her 2, and her 1. When the augment comes up, I can see her dispensary being subsumed. Exactly. That's the thing. And it's just like, yeah, her dispensary's good, but she really doesn't need it. Because, like, tell me this, chat. Have you ever needed more health? Because here's the thing, her energy is covered by this, right? Technically. Have you needed the health or the ammo at all? Like, tell me this. Have you needed the health or ammo? We have a lot of energy access nowadays. Her shield satellite giving 3 seconds is good though. Exactly. That's what I'm not talking about her 1 and 2. I'm talking about her 3 specifically, Maru. Have you ever needed the health or the ammo? I would need it as a subsume for exactly, Maru. Like, the thing is, she really doesn't need this, like, at all. Yeah, she is a busted shield. Exactly. She has really good survivability. And decent CC too, especially with the armor stripping. It allows the shrapnels to actually do damage. She has a busted shield gaining frame. Kuva Brahma. Her blaze artillery is really strong, combined with the augment armor strips. Again, like I said before, her 4 makes her gameplay more engaging, where you're incentivized to spam the hell out of these and then get all of it back here. And her 3 is better on other frames. Like, still useful, especially in a squad, but it's better on other frames. And this is why I personally think Protea is a bit overrated. Can see Protea level capping, but would need to make her work somehow. Comes. Yeah, that's the thing. I think she can easily level cap. Like, no issue. Like, she relies on shields to do her stuff. And I personally think she's a bit overrated, because, yeah, she is very good. Yeah, she's overrated as fuck. Exactly. Like, she's really good when it comes to damage and sustaining her energy, but that's pretty much it. Like, she doesn't provide any other utility, and, like, even in a squad, you can easily put Dispenser on other frames. Like, that's not to say that she's overrated to the point where she's, like, B or C, but I think she's a solid A minus. Like, she is good, don't get me wrong. She is a very good frame, but I don't think she's even close to S. And I do think, like, I would honestly, if I were designing her, I would have changed Suspensory out for a different power. Which is, I know it's heresy to say, because I know everybody uses Dispensary, but, like, genuinely, using her 4 is more fun than her 3. And, like, that's the thing. Like, if her 3 didn't exist and had something else, she probably would be an S tier. But because of the reason that Dispensary is kind of useless on her, I would say she's more of an A minus. Like, still very good, just not the best of the best, which I know is heresy to say if other YouTubers see this, but genuinely. Honestly, in a time in Devuri, her and Pillage of Zoom saved me from a bug with shield. Oh, you're right. There's a bug with shield satellites, isn't there? But yeah, like I said, she can get the armor strip and everything. I just feel she's hella overrated, and her dispensary is better on other frames. I'm indifferent towards camping abilities. But yeah, she's an A minus. She's nowhere near bad, but she's not amazing. Corvex. So, funny thing about Corvex, I'll play a little bit with him right now. He kind of became my 3rd favorite frame next to Sevagoth and Limbo. And it's mainly because of the Chernobyl frame. We grillin' on the demon coal. Because he can do this. Very easily. Bland. Yeah, bland would be a good way of describing Protea. Like, she's great, she just isn't that fun. Corvix, exactly, Bintang. Like, the nuclear memes are too funny. And I do think he is a very well-designed frame. With the exception of his 2, and I'll get into why. The radiation sounds so sad. Exactly, yay, exactly. His 1 has a slow built into it, decent range. It synergizes with the 4 to spread the effects of the 4 to the 1. His 2 gives damage vulnerability, and it groups them up into a line, allowing for his passive where he gets the increased punch through to all his weapons. His 1, I'd say, is better than Mind Control as a sub-zoom. I could actually see that. I like it as a sub-zoom, because this is my 2nd Corvex. Corvex delivering that sweet liberty. Haven't seen / played Helldivers. The isometric guard is basically a status-based Mesmer skin, which makes it really good so long as you get the kills that you need. Or as long as you get kills to boost it. And even with negative strength, having 3 charges, and then, like, getting the extra strength through Molt Augmented is really nice. He is tanky as hell, has a lot of health, has decent energy, even decent shields. And his form, especially with the enemies grouped up, is a absolutely insane power. Like, I am still amazed by how good his 4 is when synergized with his 1. And I will never forgive the bigger YouTubers who played him on day 1 and didn't know about the synergy because they didn't bother to check and say he was trash. Like, Corvex is very good to me. And I do have him built around, like, health regen, so I can heal, as well as adaptation. I also have a radiation shard for extra radiation damage, but Corvex is super tanky, has decent utility. Fourth ability is screwdriving the demon core, exactly. Exactly, Bintang. Like, he's super tanky, has good survivability, has status immunity for himself and his squad, can nuke and slow enemies, with the only problem being that he's not as good for other utilities, such as stealth and stuff. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that he's meant... Honest to God, they said his 1 and 4 synergizes in the death train did everyone mess up. Well, apparently, Moreau, people are stupid. Like, not to sound rude, but people are generally stupid and they don't pay attention. But anyway, I would say, like, I am very biased, but I do think objectively he's probably a B+. Like, he's very good at his niche, but he doesn't provide too much outside of it. Yeah, it's mentioned many times in the death stream, but people don't pay attention. Maru, why bruh? Why are you going bruh at me? Oh yeah, let me actually show this other fashion that I did. The Demon Core fashion. Damn, that looks good. But yeah, I think he's a B+. Like, here's the thing. Corvex in his niche, when it comes to damage output and stuff and survivability, he's very good at. But like I said, he doesn't provide much else outside of it. Which is the only issue that I really have with Corvex. Like, if he had more interesting utilities built into his kit, I think he would be a much better frame. But I think as is, being just a good DPS caster is enough. So B+. Usai is more like they find out with the Loki YouTuber and not in the dev. Exactly. With, what's his name? Triburos, who I'm also a big fan of. So Corvex B+. Very good. Revenant. Revenant. Hey, Elmalistic. Good to see you, man. So let me think. Let me switch over. Yeah, based Animalistic. Yeah, I fucking love Animalistic. He's great. So, let me think. Revenant. I know everybody likes to use him and he's very brain dead, and I personally... Is that Gloom? No, it's not Gloom. It's, Revenant is the definition of power strength in a frame. It's a Dance Macabre. Let me see. Oh wait, I'm blind. His 1, being able to mind control enemies is very good. It's basically a better Nyx, like a Nyx mind control. Honest to God, the moment I remember Rhino's 2 skill with enemy level, my eyes open. Dance is very mute. Yeah. His 2, immunity, nothing much else to say about it. His 3, leeches health and leeches health based on percentage, as well as doing way more on enemies hit with this. Hit with his 1, so it scales better because of that. And his 3 is adaptive damage, but it's not particularly great. unless you overcharge it. But people mostly use it just for this, his Sue. And here's the thing about Revenant, is that I think he's just alright. I think all he really provides is just survivability and not much else. Like his CC from his thralls, I do have to give credit to Revenant Copter, though it's funny. Yeah. Revenant Car Engine 4000 can work, immortal but boring as hell, and honestly feels like it's the only thing he... Exactly. Like, he feels like he's just meant to tank and not much else. Like, Mesmer Skin, don't get me wrong, best defensibility in the game easily. Like, this and the Rift are tied in terms of, like, damage immunity / reduction and shit. And Thrall, it's a solid mind control / CC ability, but it's capped at 7 enemies, and it's not particularly amazing. Like, the damage isn't anything noteworthy. His Reeve, it's good as a mobility tool, which is very important, but it's a little clunky. He's buffed so much because precision intensify. I mean, I could see that been saying, but I just haven't gotten around to testing that. And it's for Dance Macabre. If you know what it needs, it can work on anything that isn't Steel Path, Grenier, or Corpus. Hey Jesus, welcome back. Like, Revenant, he's just okay. Like, the only thing I think he has going for him really is Mesmer Skin. Since you lost 45 on other parts, which is 45 net gain only. And it's like, yeah, that's just the thing. Like, he's just really boring, and the only thing it really has going for him is the fact that he can tank, and he does take the most advantage of subsuming Dance Macabre for other abilities to boost his damage. So because of that, I think he's a solid B. Like, he's not amazing. Like, the only thing he really has going for him is his tanking and nothing else. So I think B suits him. Saren. You know, I really, really want to like Saren, but I really, really don't like her. As sinful as that is to say, and I want to explain. You see, I think her concept in a nutshell is awesome. Like, the idea of killing the enemies before they get to you is very cool. But unfortunately in Warframe, that really doesn't work. And it's for a few reasons. One, yes, the spores do a lot of damage if you can build it up, but if all the enemies die, you lose that built up damage instantly. And especially in higher level missions, that could be the difference between life and death if that happens. And she's very much centered around spreading the spores, which you need to hit with your 3 active to pop them. Which is very cool, and I know it can like quadruple dip and shit with different buffs. But it can be a little bit annoying, especially if you run out of energy. Her 2 really doesn't work that well. It doesn't have enough aggro. Starting the Warframe, that breaks the game, and old as well. I really can't use spores, so I go gun. Exactly, Bintang. Like, she's more of a gun platform, which is fine, but the problem is that because she doesn't have any damage reduction ability of any kind, or a way to dodge damage very well, outside of her 2, she is so squishy that I end up dying more times with her than I think any other frame. And I'm spamming her 1, her 2, and her 3, and her 4 out the wazoo to get the shield gate to proc, and it does nothing. Like, genuinely. And her 4, it's alright. It's good for boosting the damage of the spores and spreading them, too. So roll with her is low, though. It depends on Exactly. Like, the thing is that the concept of killing them before they get to you is a good one, but contrary to what people say, I don't think Saren does it that well. Like, at all. But now we do have new methods of doing it, such as let me find it. It's on one of my frames. Or one of my companions, where is it? Yeah, I found my helmet charger. We do have mods like Loyal Companion. So if Saren falls below a certain amount of health, the companion will draw the aggro, which can work. And then another one, which is on Sentinels, I believe, is going to be, where is it? Yeah, here it is, Sacrifice. So whenever you get down, you'll restore all your health and shields instantly. Which can work, but you need to buy enough time or reset the Sentinel fast enough to get it to proc. Or you can use things like the Panzerful of a file as well. Like, there are methods, don't get me wrong. Green Shard's really about to roll. I mean, the thing is, Sarah didn't need the green shards, though. Like, she can do it fine without them. Like, they do buff her, yeah, but she really doesn't need it unless she's going to level cap. And that's kind of it. Like, she really doesn't need it. Like, she's just so strong by herself. And, like I said, if her concept did work, like, if this thing had the highest aggro in the game, without question, she would easily be S+++. Like, she would have everything at that point in terms of damage. Very little utility, obviously, unless you're using some of the augments. But she would be an incredible DPS frame for that. But she really didn't need it, but it was more like, it is there and I'm taking it. Exactly, Moreau. But because her 2 doesn't work all that well to draw the aggro and isn't tanky enough, and she's way too squishy, I end up dying more times with her, like I said, than any other frame. Very likely. If there were stats for that distinguish which ones you died the most with, it probably would be her. So I think if you can get her to work as a DPS frame, she's easily S tier. Like, her damage, her scaling damage, and just her 3 is just really strong. But because she's so squishy and hard to survive with, she's more of a B for me. And the fact that she lacks all other utility as well, such as survivability or damage reduction or providing some other elements to the team, really doesn't help her case. So I think objectively she's more of like a B plus or an A minus. Like, I don't even think she's anywhere close to S personally. Like, not to hate on people who love her, but genuinely, I don't get it. Sev Agoth. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong Sevagoth. Wait a minute. This is the Sevagoth. Here we go. Sevagoth. The Shadow Lord. Who, if you guys have been around long enough on the channel, know I have done a guide on him. Which is kind of outdated now, but still pretty cool. I think Sevagoth, personally, second favorite. Oh yeah, Bentang. Sevagoth is my second favorite frame next to Limbo, and I'll explain a little bit. Sevagoth is the stand. Exactly, yeah, he's the stand Warframe, but it's more than that. But part of it is because he's a stand user. Oh yeah, Dark. Sevagoth easily S tier. And there's a few reasons as to why. One, with the shield changes, he can tank out the wazoo with shields now. S tier for Stan. He has a damage buffing power, especially with Shadow Haze, giving you flat crit chance, mind you. The man that will eat your form, like, really fun to go either normal or stand user. Exactly. His So, combined with Reap, I think it got changed a little bit, will now do way more damage than it used to before, and it scales with enemy health. So you have a damage ability that can scale easily in the level cap, with pretty good range to it base. Gloom, one of the best subsumes in the game, obviously, but is a really good slow, and provides excellent CC. His Exalted Shadow, let me look at it, is one of the best melee frames in the game, and can be made to be tanky as shit, and can even be built around shield gating if you want to, because you can mod him separately with arcanes and stuff, so you can have 2 different builds on him, allowing for a lot of build diversity, and utility, mind you, and utility. such as maybe going entirely into buffing Death Harvest, leaving the Shadow, and then taking advantage of the debuff while in normal form. He has so much build variety and so much like utility tied to him in terms of how he can become a weapon buffer frame, he can become a CC frame for defense targets and shit. Cyber Sand is literally Tusk Act 4 looking. And the Shadow's Claws. Oh my lord. These things, when built right, like with this build, can easily one-shot Acolytes. Like, the Shadow's Claws, when built right, are absolutely disgustingly strong. And I'm still amazed that people subsume the Shadow, because yes, it is a little bit slow, but it has a mobility tool, it has the ability to pull enemies to it. Jojo Party is my favorite, actually. Really Bintang. I actually have yet to reach part 8, because here's the thing, I watched the anime version, I don't read the manga because I just don't have the time for that. But I love the anime. So I have yet to see part 8. But it's just like, Sevagoth he is just such a good frame. Yeah, he can easily one-shot Demolist too. Like, his utility and his strength, when you know what he needs, is almost unmatched. Hello, what happened while I was gone? Oh, not much, Gear. We're almost done with all the frames I've played. Like, Sevagoth, if you're willing to do the grind, and if you're willing to spend the forma, you need to read part 7, you'll love it. I'll wait until the anime comes out, yay. Because, like I said, I don't read the manga, I watch the anime. And, like, Sevagoth is just so disgustingly strong. He has very little that I can say that's bad about him, and the fact that, let me look at abilities, his ability is just better Anaros passive, means that he can literally never die if you know what you're doing. Like, Sevagoth, if you have the time, the investment, and the desire to play him, will not disappoint. He is an easy S tier. Alright, Styanax. So funny thing, when he was first introduced on the Narmer update, I actually immediately got him and threw him into the helmet. And only a few months ago did I go out and buy another one to play him. And I don't have the augment for him, but I know it's very good. But McDonald's Styanax. Oh my god, he does kind of look like a McDonald's person. His passive one-shot any low. So, Bintang, the way Sevagoth's passive works is that it will one-shot any mobs that don't have Overguard on them, or isn't a boss. So even if it's like a corrupted heavy gummer that's an Exodus, so long as you remove the Overguard first, you can still one-shot them. They just can't have Overguard on when you do it. So Styanax. Zispaten. Oh, he already has a lot of shields, damn. And now he has even more shields. Styanax is very good. His 1 is a decent damage power, and it's pretty good CC if you can hit the enemy. His 2, one of the best armor strips in the game, and gives health back, even though I don't know why it would do health. I think shields would have been better. His 3 gives energy regen and shields per kill. And then his 4 is one of the most badass moves in the game, and inflicts so many bleed procs. You know, oh really, that's a huge plus. That's true, Bintang. Like his augment for his 4 gives Overguard. Like, I don't have it, but I know it exists. Like, Styanax is a very good frame, and ironically is a really good support frame. Like, the amount of utility he provides while having damage and really good defense is very good. Styanax, can't really use him because I feel like I don't use his 4 with augment that much anyways. You can get trapped in the only 4. That's true. His 3 also gives aggro. That's true. Like, his 3 rally point also pulls all aggro on him. And it's the highest in the game next to Loki's decoy. I unironically think that Cynex might even be an S tier. Like, the amount of utility that he provides and the amount of damage that he provides as well to his squad and himself is insane. Yo, Dystopia, how's it going? We're ranking frames right now. We're almost done. I'm ranking all the frames that I own or have tried. I'm not touching frames I don't know much about. And yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, I just think that, like, Cynex just has it all. Cynex gives overguard to everyone, instant overguard. Exactly. Like, he is just such a good frame. Even though I don't like playing him, I cannot deny he is such a good frame. So he's S tier. Like, there's no doubt around it. He is S tier. Like, the amount of stuff that he provides is just ridiculous. Okay, Titania. I have actually played Titania a lot before. I do think she is very clunky to use, but I do think she's very good. So her one, for example, Hello Dystopia loves both of your Caliban and Volban vids. Yeah. Yeah, Dystopia cooked hard on those videos. Xanax, the gate this gate, that gate for everyone else like Frost. Exactly animalistic. Like, he provides so many gates while having so many other features that work. So yeah, Spellbind, decent CC, and status immunity for yourself and your allies. That alone, I think, makes it pretty good, and the fact that it's also sub-zoom is also pretty good. Tribute, and this is where the clunkiness gets in. The only ones you should bother with are Thorns and Dust. Full Moon and Entangle are almost useless, I would say, because it's not that they aren't good. Like, Entangle in particular can actually be pretty decent. Good. Titania. Oh, Dystopia, he was doing a Twitch stream? I didn't know that. Damn. Man, I did this at the wrong time. I should have been hanging out with him. Fuck. Hey, Dystopia, if you want to, you can tell Ninjas that I'm here if he wants to hang out. I completely forgot he was doing a stream. Fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, well. Let's see, what else is going on? What time is it? That's not too bad. Okay. The problem that I have with tributes is I feel like there's too many abilities, and they're really annoying to remember how to cycle through. Like, for example, Thorns and Thorns and Dust are like the two mandatory ones, but you have to cycle all the way through to activate them again, because you can't cycle backwards, you can only cycle forwards, and because Full Moon and Entangle are already there, it's really annoying having to cycle through every time to use them. But it's still a good ability. Like, just Thorns and Dust alone make this ability good. Full Moon is pretty much negligible, and Entangle is also decent, but not amazing. Her turret could be worked better to know which one is what. That's true, Maru. That's true. Lantern, I controversially think is actually better than people give it credit for. Like, it instantly lures in enemies, so you can use it for things like defense to get them off of the target. Glad to hear sometimes there's a little details that matter. Yeah. Hopefully Ninjas are streaming on Twitch. Nobody told me about this. Yeah, I completely forgot about it, Gear. Like, I saw it on the ride home. Because I was out and about all day. Like, so when it comes to Lantern, I think it's better than people give it credit for. Like, it instantly aggroes enemies and pulls them towards it. Yeah, it instantly aggroes enemies and pulls people towards it. It does decent heat damage, not amazing, but it's still there. It has a really good attract radius, too. And just in general, it's a very good CC power. Like, yeah, just Lantern is hella underrated. Especially because of the instant aggro, too. Like, it is annoying that the enemies move slowly towards it, but it's still pretty good. Like, this thing on the right missions is excellent. And then her 4, Razor Wing. Full flight throughout the space. Makes you smaller and decreasing the size of your hitbox. Gives you dodge chance so you're harder to hit. It also allows you to use the Dex Pixia, which is one of the best exalted weapons in the game. Like, with just this build right here, I can take on Steel Path. Like, he is very strong. And don't sleep on the Duwata, because the little butterflies that she spawns in her 4, I need a build for her that isn't just speed addiction. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, the little razor flies that she has around here. Aggro diversion ability is underrated as hell, just like Loki decoy. Exactly. Exactly, Bintang. But the little pixies that spawn from her form, their health and damage, it scales off of the melee. So make sure the mod for it if you decide to use her. Yeah, exactly. The butterflies use melee mod, so you can easily get them to nuke certain enemies. Like, very easily. I think, what's his name? Asiago Tenno showed off a video about it. And showed how the razor wing flies can nuke, or something, or someone did. I don't remember who it was. With all that said, she has excellent utility and support, CC, excellent damage and mobility. The only problem is that her tribute is ass to work with. But other than that, she is a solid A tier. Not S, because I do think, even though she's really good with those things like CC and stuff and support, it's not the best. Like, there are others that do it better, but you see what I mean. Razorwing Pixies can proc Bombacy Malice. Oh yeah, they can. I've seen it before. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, she's an A. Very good. She does have a lot of little buffs that add up in the end. She's just not the best at what she does. When it comes to support. When it comes to damage, she is very, very good. So solid A. Oh, wait. I didn't mean to do that. Trinity. So funny thing, I have barely used her, and I don't know a whole lot about her when I was doing research, and I barely played her, so for this reason, I will unfortunately not be ranking her. But Nova Umbral does have a video about her, so if you want more information about Trinity, I would recommend going there instead, because I can't provide that info. Valkyrie, same thing. I built her, but haven't done anything with her, so we're going to skip over her as well. I know her 4 is very strong, but that's it. Vaman. The good old French boy. And Disso's watching, so this will be funny. Dystopian. Oh man, Dystopian. You're gonna be so crushed when I say that he's an F. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's not an F. Not even close. Judgment is ready. So Dystopia, all jokes aside from what YouTubers say about him, I personally don't know enough about him. Like, I've played him a little bit, and I would just use him for his vacuum. He's French. Vauban is too broken. I know, the thing is, I just don't know enough about Vauban outside of the video that Dystopia showed. And even with that, I haven't played with him enough. And unfortunately for that reason, I am not going to rank him either. But I will say this. Go check out Dystopia's video. He did an excellent job showing off what Vauban can do outside of what I know, because all I know is that his 4 is very good, and that's kind of it. And his 2 is pretty decent. But I am not the professional when it comes to this. Dystopia is, go check him out. He will provide it. Vauban is the type of frame that also gets better the more you play him. Easy to use, hard to match. Exactly, Dystopia. Like, that's the thing. I just haven't bothered to play him much. Or enough. Volt Volban. I always knew Volban has potential, but this zone made me remember that he scales with enemy level. I hate the suck spam. While Volban uses a 40% duration build. Yeah, like the scaling damage is also important, but regardless of that, I am not going to rate him. So basically use his base 4 to armor strip, use the needles to that scale of any. Yeah. So Volt. Volt has an extremely special place in my heart. He was my first ever Warframe. The overrated frame. To an extent, Big Tang, yeah, but I'll still defend him a little bit. So Volt is interesting, again. I know I keep saying that. You see, he was my first ever frame. And don't pay attention to that build, I don't know what I was cooking there. Same, he was my first two. And I have seen how good he is, and I have used him on Steel Path a few times. And here's the thing. Before I start, there is a creator known as Future Funk, also known as Peach, in the Discord server that I'm in, as well as Nova's Discord. He is a Volt main, and knows way more about Volt than I do, so I'm not the professional here. So for starters, Volt is very versatile. His 1 with the augment can provide electricity damage. His 2 provides speed and reload speed. His 3 gives defense. And his 4 also provides CC and damage. Like, he is an excellent utility frame. Isn't he like... Yeah, Dystopia, like 91% or 92% Peach. 75% attack speed too. Volt, for some reason, I can't use Volt, but he is good too. Base. Yeah, that's the thing. Volt is excellent utility and has good damage, but from what I do remember playing of him before I switched off, and even when I tried using him on Steel Path, is that even before after the shield changes, he's still a little too squishy, and has spamming problems where I run out of energy too fast. Like even with increased energy, with where is it, like Archon Flow here, I would still have problems sometimes. Because he's one of those frames where you want to be proccing Shield Gate to defend, because he's squishy without it. And he is very strong. The biggest hurdle is just getting around the Shield Gate issues, because his damage is there, his utility is there, and because of things, like I said, what's it called? Like corrosive shards, you can easily armor strip with your weapons, or using companions with the Vicious Bond, since it will allow you to have the companion armor strip when they get hit by abilities. Like, everything is there. The biggest problem is just surviving with them. If you can get past that, and like I said, with me having the spamming issues sometimes, where I run out of energy too fast, even with 855 energy, he is very good. I don't think he's S tier good, but he's very good. So I would personally put him in A+. Like, he's very good at what he can do, and provides so much utility and so much damage. The biggest problem is just survivability and getting the armor strip that you need for his forward to nuke. And that's about it, I would say, when it comes to him. Like, he's an A+. Like, he's very solid. Varuna. What animation set am I using? Oh, Valkyrie animation. Oh, I forgot, this is my Guts Berserk kind of look that I was doing, and I was formatting her up for a little bit. Oh, wait, no. Oh, this is the second Varuna. That's right. I had this one got asked. Yeah, that's true. So, before I start with this one, Seijin Khan, as well as Boxer Soldier, they love Varuna. So I would talk to either one of them if you want more information. So Varuna, from what I have played of her, because I got her when she first came out and then subsumed her, and then got her again very recently because I was going to use the augment but didn't. From what I have seen with the augment, she is a killing machine. And even back when I played her, she was. Like, here, let me show you. Her 1, invisibility, including increased status chance and crit chance on her melees. And she also has the 4 passive things, too. all having the 4 different passives too, which is huge, with the status immunity in particular being very good. Her 2 basically turns her into a discount Saren with some RNG involved, where she becomes a condition overload maniac with this power. And the fact that it spreads when the enemy dies allows her to nuke entire rooms. Her 3 gives infinite health and energy so long as you're getting headshots or killing with melee, which you're going to be doing very easily. I don't really like for any idea how to start streaming. I have no idea how to start streaming, Jay. You kind of just have to do it, you know? And yeah, Varuna's interesting when it comes to builds, because I don't personally play her that much, but I think she's pretty cool. Looks like I'm going to drink, my throat's dry. Like I said, her 3, especially when combined with Equilibrium, means you can have infinite energy upkeep. And her 4, when combined with its augment, from what I've seen, I haven't played it with the augment, but I did play it without it. Like, even without the augment, it was alright. But with the augment, you have an infinite melee nuke power, allowing you to strike and kill enemies over and over and over again while being invisible in your 1. Like, she basically becomes almost like Ivara, except melee based. Like, she is so nuts when it comes to melee. But that is unfortunately where we get to the problem with her, is that she is mainly melee and nothing else. And it's not to say that she can't work with pistols and stuff, but because she's mostly a melee-focused frame, it means that if you don't like melee, you're not going to like Varuna. And I do think well, for starters, energy can get a little weird with her, because even though you have Equilibrium, you still want to make sure you have enough energy to cast everything. Health and armor isn't too big of a worry, because, I mean, she has the invisibility, so it's not a huge issue. And you do stay invisible when using the 4, if I remember correctly. She's very fast, and she can tank and kill, like, easily. Like, if you want to invest into her, I would recommend it. And as far as I could tell, even without the augment for 4, she's a solid A. Like, not amazing, but certainly not bad. I do think she needs some minor tune-ups. Let me look. I think she needs some minor tune-ups, maybe with Fangs of Rosh slightly. Not necessarily in terms of the range itself, like how you apply it, but maybe the spread radius could be higher, and that's about it. And maybe a slightly longer duration on her 1. Wisp. Oh yeah, this is my second Wisp that I have. Bruno was my first time actually farming and getting stuff. Oh really? Yeah. So when it comes to Wisp, I think 2 things. 1, she's the most overrated frame in the game. The only reason people like her is for her assets, which is why I keep the cloth on. And 2, especially after the release of Citrine, I don't think she is a good support frame. Which was boring, I will not regret saying that ever. No, she is. She absolutely is. Like, genuinely, Wisp is so boring, and even objectively, she's not that as good as people say she is. Like, let me explain. Like, her 1, yes. Her boats, all good. Health over time, especially if you can invest into, like, damage reduction, is very good. Speed and fire rate, very good. And then the shock moat is decent CC. Her 2 is actually decent as a mobility tool, I'll admit. But it doesn't really have much else aside from synergizing with 3. Her 3 is very good. And I, in fact, love using it on Limbo because the multiplicative damage of her 3 stacks with Limbo's Rift Torrent, allowing you to easily hit things like level cap and shit. But it ironically feels like, because she's a support frame, it doesn't really feel like this should be here, really. At least not entirely. Which is weird to say, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. And then her 4, even with the addition of the corrosive shards and the radiation shards, is still not that great from what I've seen. Like, I haven't personally tested it, but from what I've seen, that's what it's like. Keep that in mind. And if you want to learn more about her, just go to Pupsker. He shows off Wisp in every single video because that guy has to clickbait out the wazoo. But anyway, I digress. Wisp is she's just really boring. The only reason people like her is for her assets, and like she's an okay support, but all she does is provide a little bit of utility and not too much else. Like, she's just utility, and even the damage from a Breach Surge, because it's a sub-zoom, it can kind of go on other frames pretty easily. Like, if this wasn't a sub-zoom, I would say she would be infinitely better. But because it is, it's kind of hard to justify saying that just this is good when you can easily put it on other frames if you wanted to. Now, like I said, I don't count putting helmets on other frames, but I do count if their best stability is on other frames, which is kind of goes the same with Sevagoth. But even with Sevagoth, like, his augment for his 1 is just so nuts to not use it. I don't know. Like, I just feel like she's just really boring to play, and she's just very standard. Like, she doesn't do anything special. Dystopia. Face, you cover her arse. So, Maru, I subsumed Wisp once, and that's why I have the helmet. Wisp from support is mostly coming from her 1 and 3 to some degree. She can work even with an aim glide build, but she's boring. Is it a hot take to say that her kit's outdated? You know, funny thing, Dystopian, I may sound crazy, I actually thought something similar. Like, I do think parts of her kit are kind of outdated now. Like I think her 1 could be better, and her 2 could be way better, obviously. But I think it's her 1 and 4 in particular that feel outdated. Like, the health regen thing just isn't good now. Like, if it were shield regen, out of the question, she would be much better, but it's health. And her soul gate needs to be changed. Like, it needs buffs. Or rather, it's needed buffs, but they're not going to give them to her. I would say it's not outdated, but not updated either. Yeah, that's the thing, Maru. It's kind of just there. And that's just the thing, like, I personally just think she's just not that good. Like, she's not terrible. Like, if you pick her up and use her, she's gonna get work done, obviously. But there's just so many other options now that it's kind of hard to justify her outside of wanting to play Warframe with one hand. So, for that reason, I am going to give her the highest honor of C+. Like, she still works, obviously, and the utility and damage she does provide is good, but there's just so many other frames that can do things better than she does. I'm having a lot of ammo problems because of Wisp teammates. Yeah, that too. Like, just the fire rate is really annoying if they build for high strength. But yeah, Wisp is C+. Like, she isn't bad, but she's just mediocre, I would say. Warframe players coming at your location right now, lol. Yeah, they can come to me, I'll banish them. See how they like it. Zaku! Now, let me switch to a different outfit for this. What was I doing here? I forgot I had that one. So, fight me, you horny Wisp player, come at me. Exactly, Bintang, exactly. Like, I think I hear the earth shaking was being given a C plus. Yeah, dystopia. I mean, Pupskirt's fans could come after me for all I care. The dude's just a clickbaiter. The three motherfuckers in one frame. Yep, Bintang. And funnily enough, I found out that it's actually two female frames and one male that's in Zaku, so mostly feminine. Which it kind of makes sense, like Zaku does look visibly feminine. Okay, so let me switch this build out. Oh yeah, this one, the This is America build. So my relationship with Zaku is that before I mained Limbo, I mained Zaku. Because at the time, I was super into the meta. Like, I only followed the meta at the time because it was like, oh, it works. I'll take it. And stuff like that. Wait, they said the genders of the... Yeah, they did, Maru, they did. It was mentioned somewhere. But I do agree. So, funnily enough, there's something that Seijin said in private a while ago that I think he talked about on stream once, and it was that Zaku is just Wukong perfected. And I kind of agree, because most of the damage, like with Wukong with the clone, in this case it's the guns. And just much better because of like armor strip and crowd control. So you see, I made Zaku for a while because I just thought funny skeleton man running around with guns, you know? And then I eventually got bored and almost quit the game. And then I saw Limbo, and now I've never left. So this one frame single-handedly almost made me quit the game. Because I got so bored of it. Which is hilarious to think about. But so let me explain. So really good damage buff in Zada's Whisper. Like Zada's Whisper honestly is basically just true damage except it counts for armor now. His 2, now that you mention it, Zaku feels like a whisper of the old Wukong with some of the king being different, of the kit being different. Exactly. Zaku's 2 is really good for scaling damage, and it also disarms enemies on the first enemies that get pulled by it. But scaling damage in particular is very good, and the guns will get more damage if they scale with range, and you get more damage on the 3 with how many guns you have. I've heard that Zaku on release, it was so bad they gave it changes in that. Yeah, Maru. Like, I remember when Zaku was around back then, when I first tried out the game, back before the changes, and that was the rhetoric that I heard too. The main thing that really fixed it, though, was making Vast on Time freeze the other abilities. The Lost, 3 powers in 1, you get Accuse, which provides mind control in a large radius. It's basically a better version of Revenant's 1 and Nyx's 1. Gaze, the best armor strip in the game because it's an AoE strip. Deny, absolutely terrible, never use it because on paper it's supposed to be a tank buster power, but it can't really do much. And 4, increases your dodge chance, makes enemies take more, denies bite and blast. Oh god, that's funny, Bentang. Boosts the amount of void damage that enemies can take, does void damage on its own, increases the duration of Zaku's other powers. And in concept, this works really well, but unfortunately, it also creates an AFK style of play where you can just stand one spot with the guns, with Gaze, and just reset Vast time over and over again while standing. It's just Zaku screaming, it's spooky month and running around. Yeah. And this unfortunately comes to a big problem that I have with Zaku. Zaku is so boring and so oriented around solo play that I tried playing Zaku again very recently with Mr. Aether Gaming. I almost fell asleep while playing with him. Like, I kept nodding off. Because Zaku just makes things way too easy to the point where I fall asleep. And it's annoying. And I barely touch this frame now. Like, ever since I started playing Limbo, I actively Yeah, Zaku in a nutshell just puts me to sleep. Like, I will admit, Zana's Whisper, very good sub zoom for other frames, especially because it's multiplicative damage. But oh my god! And what's even more hilarious, I don't like Zaku. Yeah, I don't like Zaku either, Gear. And what's even funnier, I've done a thing where I would sub zoom off Grasp of Lock for other abilities instead, and Zaku actually becomes fun that way. I have to gaze the targets, hit them with the Vaseline time shit, and use the one for damage buff and maybe have some other ability here. And it becomes more entertaining. I feel like a summoner build, almost like a Necros instead. Zaku allows me to speed for quills at the very least. That's true. Like, Zaku, like, here's the thing. Zaku has Octavia Syndrome. Can do so much stuff really well, provides so much support, so much damage, so much other buff, or so many other buffs. The biggest problem is that they are just so unbelievably boring to play. To the point where I actively put them in the same vein as the Wukong mains. Where I trash them now. Like, it's sad. My once one of my favorite frames now reduced to a joke. But, despite all that, Zaku is objectively an S. Like, there's no way around it. Zaku is objectively an S. Like, the stuff they provide is just, it's too good. Even though I hate them. Or not hate, but just heavily dislike them, so an S. You're ready. Oh, is that Marilena? Oh my god, what did I make Marilena look like? Jesus Christ. What is this? Be not afraid. Forgot I made my Ureli look like this. So, the creature. Ureli, I got Ureli after the changes, okay? Like, after her buffs, so, for context. I guess so, Bloody Mary Marilena. Be not afraid being, for I am not danger. So, I actually have a soft spot for Ureli. I think Ureli is one of the best Gunzerker frames that we currently have. Like, I unironically do. Like, I know people meme on her, but I am going to defend her here and say that she is actually really, really good. When you get used to her. Be right back. I'll pick up my little bro. No problem, Bintang. We'll probably still be here for a little bit. Yeah, Lily, the main for Warframe flow. Trust me, trust. Probably, yeah. I remember seeing that Ureli joke earlier today, or yesterday. Because here's the thing. Her one gives damage vulnerability, which is huge, and CC, and damage over time, and has really good range. Her two, once you get used to it, mind you, is an excellent mobility tool, contrary to what people tell you, and is very fast for getting around different tile sets. Not the best, obviously, and also has damage reduction, and especially combined with her augments, gives things like increased fire rate, and with the new one, will basically turn her into a turret. But then again, that's later. Right now, it's just the, oh my god, the, fire rate. Aqua Blades with the augment gives it scaling damage, which is pretty huge. And even by itself, it's a pretty decent CC tool for when enemies are up close. Yarly would be great with making you be run and gun with CC and DR. That's true, Dark. That is true. And then her 4 Riptide is a very solid crowd control power. And also scales with enemy density. Which isn't the best, but if you have an armor strip, it can nuke if you have an armor strip. Honestly, putting Marlene aside, it only gives you the option to depend on secondaries, as your damage bonus. Not many Warframes allow that. That's true, Moreau. That's true, and that's another thing too. Like, she is a secondary like monstrosity. Like, if you like secondaries, you will love Ureli. But then again, I still can't put aside the fact a few things. One, Her utility is a little limited. Like, she only provides damage reduction and a little bit of CC, and that's a little bit, or, and that's kind of it. Like, damage increase or damage vulnerability with some damage reduction, that's about it. Like, her survivability is covered, and that's covered. But she really doesn't do damage by herself unless you're investing in secondaries. And the other problem with that is that there isn't a whole lot of secondaries that she can really take the most advantage of. Because they either have to be ones with a good enough amount of crit in them, like the OcuCore or the Dual Toxos, or they already have to have really good status with decent crit as well. But you get what I'm saying. Like, she's still kind of limited when it comes to secondaries, but she can make them work. Riptide, pretty good CC, and that's kind of it when it comes to her. Like, she has good utility, it's just not the best utility. So I think objectively she's a solid B+. Like, she's got the hallmarks of a pretty good frame, and I think she'll be even better when her new augment comes out. But as of right now, I think a solid B+ is good. There's secondary incarnate with Ureli, though. Oh, that's true, the arm cannon one. Yeah, that should be interesting, hopefully. But yeah, I think as a whole she's a B+. Like, she's not the best, but she's not bad. Like, not even close. Like, if you like secondaries, you will love Ureli. And I used to play her a lot for a little while. Alright, then Zephyr, and then there's two frames that I will talk about. Or a handful of frames that I did own on here that we will talk about a little bit. And those ones being Grendel, Daggeth, and Caliban. Because I did own them. Oh, and as well as Calarvo. Because I did own them, but I subsumed them since then. But I played them enough to have a good opinion, I feel. Zephyr. No ifs, ands. Oh, hey, Ocean Man. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't want to hear any rebuttal when I say this. Zephyr is an easy S+. Like, her crowd control with her tornadoes is insane. Turbulence, an amazing damage reduction power. Having more crowd control / grouping with air bursts. As well as getting boosted crit thanks to being in the air. Yes, sir. Now more like A. Oh yeah, actually, wait a minute. Think about it now. I forgot. She doesn't provide much utility outside of this stuff. Okay, I'll think about it a bit more. But let me continue. Oh my god, it's Ocean Man. Like, the amount of utility that she provides, while all of her augments are incredibly useful. That's true as well, Ocean Man. Like, all of her augments are really good. Really underrated for no reason at all. You can make her work with a lot of stuff. And this is the craziest thing. I have a no forma build on her. And I have done Steel Path with this build several times when I used to play Zephyr consistently. Like, she is just so good. Like, she has CC, damage redirection because of the air shield, grouping, flight, like full flight. She can't really get hit. Her force scales with high crit weapons and gas damage and stuff in particular. Like, when it comes to damage, I would actually argue she's the actual AC 130. Yeah, Maru. Like, I would say Zephyr is better than... I know this is going to be such heresy when I say this, but personally, Zephyr is better than Saren. Like, she is absolutely cracked when it comes to DPS. Personally. Not to mention having survivability and stuff that Saren lacks. Like, she is just so good at what she does. But then again, her utility is kind of limited. Because, yes, she has mobility, she has damage redirection, and she has grouping. But she doesn't really have enough else besides that. So I do think that limits her a little bit. So I don't think she's S++. So I think about it now, she's a solid S minus, I think. Like, I think what would really help her is if maybe her 2 could maybe do more damage than it already does, or better yet, have her tornadoes, like the extra damage ramp that it has, not just scale with weapons, but also scale with strength. Flying in short bursts, but camping nades is grating. That is true. Like, she is a camp frame, but she's a good camp frame. Like, she's actually engaging and fun to play. So, I do think in that regard, she's very, very good. So yeah, S minus. Like, she's just way too good. Like, the amount of utility that she's got, the damage that she's got, everything. It's just too good. Okay, so now we are going to talk about frames that I have owned before, but have played enough of, despite subsuming them, that I think I can talk about them. So Caliban. So I did play a lot of Caliban a while ago, and I colored them all red and called them sus, because of the whole Among Us memes going on at the time. No, Osha, man, he's unfortunately not S tier, but I'll explain what ranking he is. I think Caliban is a solid B+, from what I played before. Like, he's got the shields, his shields are buffed out the wazoo now. His 2 is incredibly strong. I know, Gear, it's been 3 hours, don't worry. His 2 is crazy strong, it's one of my favorite subzooms, which is, Sentient Wrath. His 4 armor strips, so he can easily scale. And it has a lingering field. His 3 provides extra shields, as well as technically extra aggro, because enemies will target them instead of you. The only bad ability in his kit is Razor Gyre. Like, this thing, like, genuinely either needs to be replaced or needs to be buffed. But he still has enough with just these 3 abilities alone. And because of that, I think he's B. Like, the amount of utility he provides is pretty good. I mean, shields for himself and allies is pretty good. CC and extra damage, very good. Damage reduction / armor strip, as well as a lingering field for it, is very good. The only bad ability is 1, and he provides damage resistance to himself and allies. Like, as a support frame, Caliban is hella underrated. So B+. Outside of Razor Jar, Caliban really works with helmets. That's true. He does. Next one. Daggeth. So, I played Daggeth a little bit when she came out, but then I got so bored of her that I subsumed. He is able to deal more damage to Overguard. After all, that's true dystopia. That is a big plus. But Daggeth suffers from the exact same problems I think Saren has. Like, except for the fact that she can actually live. Like, she's mostly just DPS with very little utility. Like, she buffs her weapons, sure. She has an armor strip. She also has the ability to spread damage reduction. But she doesn't do much else. Like, she can't really provide utility for the squad outside of small bits of CC and damage. And on top of that, she's just really boring to play. Daggett is stuck in casting animation, and the irony is not lost on me. Yeah. But it's just like, 150 energy for an armor strip is insane. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, that's just the problem with her. Like, here's the thing. She's not bad as a damaging frame, but she can't really do much else outside of that. Her passive is... I know it is, Maru, but even with that, it's still... It's just okay. 300% more effective on Daggett. Yeah, but like I said, she's not bad. Like, she's great, but she just doesn't really provide a whole lot of utility in the way the other frames do. Like, if I'm gonna be doing, like, say... Like, even an Endless mission. Like, even on a endurance mission, Grave Spirit won't be enough for her. Because, yeah, she can revive herself if she gets downed, but then she has the cooldown. So it's like, even on long-form endurance missions, it's not ideal. Could work for someone starting out in Warframe if they somehow get their hands on her. Exactly. Like, if she was a first-time frame, or, like, kind of early, which she technically kind of is if you join the syndicates, she's good. But it's just that there's just so many other frames that can do what she does and better. Like, I mean, Zephyr alone does what she does, but better. So I would say she's a solid A minus. Like, she's good at damage, and she does have some survivability, but she has almost no utility when it comes to missions. Well, at least utility that's actually, like, really useful. You know, like sprint speed and things like that, like mobility. Clover can be accessed even earlier and does what she does, but better. Exactly. Like, Clover is just better. Alright, Grendel. I have owned Grendel. I have not gotten his Prime, but I did play him a lot. I played Grendel both before and after his rework. And his rework, I will say, is probably the best we have ever gotten. And it is a very, very strong frame, Grendel. His 1 synergizes well into his other powers because you need to use his 1 to use his other 3. His 2 Nourish, Energy Regen, and Viral, the hallmarks of the meta. Even though I don't like it on other frames, I do like it on Grendel himself because it fits and it's cool. And it synergizes into Feast, like I said before. His 3, Pulverize, absolutely incredible mobility tool, really good health regeneration tool / survivability tool, and it reduces armor when enemies get hit. And his 4 is an AoE armor strip. I haven't really seen Grendel before rework that much, so I can't say. Catapult. And the catapult augment, exactly, Ocean Man. Like, his augments are hilarious to use. And provide a lot of utility. And the fact that his passive makes it so that when he eats enemies, he gets more armor, gives him more survivability. Like, his utility and damage is insane. Greatest augment in the game. Like, he can armor strip, he can damage, he can move around / have mobility, he can buff his allies, he can insta-kill enemies. Like, Grendel is incredible. The only problem I do have is the fact that, again, he's a health tank frame, which means he won't be the best for level cap. But he is just so strong. So for that reason, because the amount of utility that he provides to the team while also being an incredibly damaging gun frame and ability caster frame, he's easily an S. Like, Grendel's an S, easily. Alright, and then we have one more, I think. Let me find him. Oh, this is another one that I'm not thinking of. Oh, Rhino as well, technically. Well, actually, so I'll get this out of the way right now. I played Rhino a little bit back when I first started the game. He was also one of my first frames. But I got so bored of him, and then I never touched him again. And then I got another one later on with a friend, and we subsumed him together. But because of this, I don't know enough about him to make a good rating. So because of this, I would recommend talking to Animalistic. I wish Rhino was fun to play. Exactly, Ocean Man. Like, I just found him boring. Like, he wasn't bad, but boring. But then again, I don't have enough information, so check out Animalistic's channel. He is the Rhino main, alongside another creator in one of the Discords, Nova's Discord, called Mythical. They will tell you the information you need to know about him, if you want to use him. But I don't know enough, so he's unranked. And last but not least, the final frame of tonight, Kolovo. So I used Kolovo a lot when the update came out. Like, I farmed him very quickly and got to working on him. And I thought he was a lot of fun. His 1, Wrathful Advance, is one of my favorite subzooms. Rhino really works so well for being this old. Probably one of the strongest Warframes Against Overguard, that's true. Maru, that's true. But Kolovo. So fun and really powerful. Yes, Ocean Man. Kolovo has excellent utility because he can teleport two enemies and have a flat crit chance buff on his melee, and it lasts for a while afterwards too, so you can keep the buff up for a while. Whereas the hold on his version, not the subzooms, allows him to teleport to any marked location, so he has instant teleport, which is excellent mobility. Recompense, I actually really like Recompense, where like if you don't hit an enemy in time, you get damage yourself, or it's like a high risk, high reward situation. And with it, you get Overguard, which is capped at 10,000. Colorbo's fun, either melee or gunplay, though Sumi instant teleport is better than his fourth for AoE damage. I can kind of see that. His one synergizes excellently with Collective Curse, which is his best power, which makes it so that enemies that get linked will share the damage between each other. And you can get the damage redirection to be over 100% with enough strength, which is insane. Like, it allows them to clear entire rooms, and it provides utility, because I do believe it allows allies to take advantage of it too, if I remember correctly. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Recompense gives Overguard if he already has max health, which is very nice. So that's some defensive utility. And then Storm of Ukko boosts his melee combo count. Bro, it's 5 for me. I'm sorry, Fino. Storm of Ukko boosts his only Clover can benefits from the link damage. Oh, really? Oh, okay, so this isn't as good as I thought then. Storm of Ukko is excellent because it gives him increased melee combo count for his 1. And not only that, his 1 can synergize with its 3. Clover is probably my third most used frame recently. Really been saying. It's actually really cool. And that augment that I have seen does look really cool for his 1 and 4. And not only that, Recompense can also synergize with the 3, forgot to mention that. Like, when it comes to damage, Colorvo is absolutely unmatched. But then again, he also suffers from a big issue that Daggett has, and that is he's focused entirely on damage. And outside of some defense and utility in the form of teleportation, he has no utilities whatsoever. He has only damage, nothing else. And I think it's fine, a little bit fine in this case, where unlike Saren, where she's a glass cannon, Clermo can actually tank and has an overguard gate. So I do think he's better. But I do think objectively he's probably an A. Simply because, yeah, he has the damage and everything, but he has very little utility in most missions. He is a glass cannon, yes, but that's why he is kind of a challenging. Who needs utility when everything is... Fino, utility is very important in some missions. Like, for example, in a defense mission, yes, you want to kill the enemies as fast as possible, but you also don't want the enemies to kill the objective. Yeah, but he can survive and has range and weight can do, especially... Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he didn't have the ability to survive, I would have probably put him lower in like a B, but because he does, and he has enough utility in the form of his teleportation, it doesn't make me think he's bad. Like, not even close. So I think an A, like a solid A, is fine. Like, in terms of damage, he's pretty much unmatched, because you're basically spreading the damage of your weapons. And especially with things like Armor Strip with the Corrosive Shards, it's pretty easy. One dead enemy will spawn 5 more enemies, utility is still needed. Exactly, Maru. Like, eventually, killing enemies as fast as possible doesn't matter, because they kill you first, or you'll be overwhelmed, which is why utility is very important. Which I did forget to mention, Storm of Echo does provide some CC, because it does stagger enemies every once in a while, but it's not enough. So A. I think a solid A is fine. Alright, and that's kind of it. That's my Warframe ranking on all the frames I have played or used. There's quite a few here that I don't have, unfortunately. GG's? Yeah, Gear, GG's. That was a whopping, wow, 3.5 hours. Holy shit. The subsumeability for Clover is actually no, it's his one, Bintang. So what did I join into? Yes, Fino, I was doing a Warframe tier list where I was doing a tier list of all the frames I use. You barely use Collective Curse? Damn. Good stream, great stream. Thank you, Gear. Alright, everybody. Oh, subsume slots? Okay. Well, everybody, that's it for me. I'm gonna have to get going now, I think. I might be gaming a little bit in about 10-20 minutes after I brush my teeth, but I'm kind of done for tonight. Like a 3.5 hour stream is a little too much. But anyway, if you guys want to, you guys could share this with everybody when it's done. I'm probably gonna, like, rename the stream or something. Great stream. Thank you, Bintang. Thanks, Fino. And I'll also get started on the next video. It'll hopefully be out by tomorrow because I got the footage for it done. It's not the one that I was teasing earlier. That's the Nidus project. But I think you guys are gonna like the next video. It should be out by tomorrow. So I'll see you guys later and have a wonderful evening. All right, stay safe.